Chapter 283. When the family heads saw this scene, they immediately burst into laughter. In their hearts, they were certain that Ji family would not dare to kill people recklessly. This was an action that would cause the entire world to condemn them. However, they had underestimated Ji and Ji Ting's violent temper. They were continuously mocked and ridiculed by Ji and Ji Tung. When the mocking laughter resounded in their ears, Ji took out a plate that looked very similar to the flying guillotine. However, this plate was even more powerful than the flying guillotine. That was because the flying guillotine was an ancient godly item. Ji chose the person who was laughing the most, and threw out the blood plate in his hand. The blood plate directly wrapped around the head of that family head. The lower part of the blood plate immediately fell off, and pierced into both of the family head's legs. Every layer of the blood plate had sharp teeth. If the blood plate rotated, one could imagine what kind of scene would occur. The furious Ji muttered as the blood plate slowly rotated. "Ji family, you cannot kill me." The family head who was bound by the blood plate shouted in anger. "Not only you, all of you must die." Another throwing knife pierced into Ji's chest. Ji's anger instantly exploded. Bang! The family head who was bound by the blood plate instantly turned into a pool of blood. However, the blood plate did not stop there, and continued to attack the other family heads. The scene instantly turned into a mess. All the family heads no longer cared about anything else. Right now they could only risk it all. Ji Tung's body trembled as all the throwing knives on his chest were reflected back at him, killing many people. A black iron greatsword appeared in Ji Tung's hand. It was another ancient godly item. All the family heads had shock in their eyes. As expected of a big shot, this ancient godly item was like a cabbage. Ji Tung suddenly rushed out and swung the black iron greatsword at the crowd. A huge sword chi attacked the crowd and instantly, a large number of people died miserably. At this moment, all the family heads started to panic. This Ji family had gone crazy. They actually dared to massacre the family heads of the southern powers. Everyone quickly run. Ji family has gone crazy. Quickly run. We must tell the world about Ji family's evil deeds. Let the world spurn them. All the family heads started to retreat. They must inform the outside world about this matter. Looking at the family heads who were running away, Ji and Ji Tung seemed to have regained their senses. Both of them frowned. This matter had blown up. "I asked you to do your job. Look at the result of your actions." Ji Zizhen suddenly appeared behind the two family heads. "Big brother. Big brother." Ji Zizhen did not reply. He looked at the situation below. More than half of the family heads had been killed or injured. The consequences were unimaginable. After a moment of silence, Ji Zizhen let out a sigh of relief. "Don't let any of them escape." Yes. Ji Zizhen had already prepared for the worst. A big shot killing a subordinate. This kind of matter could not be leaked out. They must all be executed. When they reached the edge of the barrier, they realized that there was no way out. The originally broken barrier had actually been repaired. There was no road ahead, and there were pursuers behind. Everyone had a deathly look on their faces. Meanwhile, Absolute Heaven had long since transformed into his original form. He stood on the roof and watched. He even took out his phone to record the scene. After that, he laid down and waited quietly. The Ji family's army quickly surrounded the remaining few hundred people. "Little brats from the Ji family, even if I die, I'll drag a few of you down to hell with me." Gaijing took the lead and rushed out. At the critical moment of life and death, he actually erupted with a powerful spiritual pressure. Ji coldly harumphed and threw out the blood plate in his hand, which immediately wrapped around Gaijing. In an instant, Gaijing turned into a pool of blood in the air. "Kill!" Ji shouted coldly. Immediately miserable wails, curses, and begging sounds rang out from the scene. The kitten that was on the roof, Absolute Heaven, held onto his chin and licked his paws. His phone was still recording the scene. This group of people, when it comes to killing their own people, they really don't hesitate at all. After waiting for more than 10 minutes and watching the final family head fall, Absolute Heaven let out a TSK sound. This video is definitely going to be very explosive. Ji family massacred 90% of the Southern Powers family heads. Their guts are truly incomparable. Ji family's bodyguards could be seen quickly cleaning up the battlefield and getting rid of all of the corpses, as if nothing had happened. After keeping away my phone, it is about time to report this matter. Perhaps, the entire Ji family would never have thought that while they were in control of other people's lives, their own lives were also in Yihua's hands. Your Honor, the matter has already been settled. Absolute Heaven contacted Yihua and began the next step of the plan. At this moment, Yihua was currently playing with his daughter and raising her up high. How much hatred did those family heads have? Yihua asked curiously. Absolute Heaven said respectfully. Very much. They even made a move against Ji family. Yihua laughed softly. Oh, they all made a move? That's interesting. How many people died? All of them are dead. Yihua, seeing that her father was in a daze, Dong Huangli asked curiously, Daddy, what happened to you? Ali, go and play with Aunt Qing first. Daddy still has something to do. Yihua said faintly. Dong Huangli was very sensible as she ran to the room at the side. Meanwhile, Yihua stood at the window and lit up a cigarette. Are you certain that all of them are dead? Subordinate is very certain. Subordinate had followed your Honor's instructions and ignited their anger. Ji family indeed couldn't hold back, and made a move against Ji family and exterminated all of them. Furthermore, Subordinate had also recorded a video. Ji family will have to take responsibility for this matter. Yihua roared furiously. When the hell did I say that all of them are dead? Who am I supposed to find to play with them? Your Honor, please calm down. Absolute Heaven panicked. I had already emphasized so much that they should kill each other, so how could you let Ji family exterminate all of them? Absolute Heaven hurriedly explained. Your Honor, Subordinate had followed your Honor's instructions and ordered them to kill each other. However, those family heads were too weak. Then, didn't you know that you should have made a move? Your Honor, if Subordinate had made a move against those family heads, wouldn't we have been exposed? Yihua. I finally know why I was exterminated back then. I reckon that the orders that I gave were all twisted into reality. Great, now that those powers in the south are all finished, how are they going to be able to fight against those powers in the north? Without a few years, those powers in the south won't be able to increase their strength at all. Irritating. I am coming over right away. Subordinate will wait for your Honor's arrival. Yihua began gathering the 7 sins. This time, it could be considered as a small reunion. Right now, Ji family was currently holding an emergency meeting. Ji Zizhen appeared to be very calm as he sipped on his tea. Meanwhile, the elders of Ji family were indignant. What Ji family did was against the heavens, and Ji family will definitely suffer retribution. Hearing the elders' words, Ji Zizhen said faintly, All of you stop talking. What is there to talk about when all of them are already dead? Family head, if those people were to be enraged this time around, our Ji family will definitely be exterminated. An elder said gravely. The purpose of the big shot's existence was to uphold justice. Now that they had killed all of their own people, what justice is there to speak of? Those people are all nothingness. They have not appeared in the past 1,000 years, and they will not appear in the future as well. Ji Zizhen said faintly. He was not worried about this problem at all. After pausing for a moment, Ji Zizhen continued. Furthermore, the death of this group of people can be pushed onto that group of people, and this has nothing to do with our Ji family. Big brother is wise. Big brother is wise. Ji Zizhen placed down his teacup and said gravely. Right now, the most important task is to annexing family. After that, annex voidless realm. Family head, you mustn't do that. Ji Zizhen's gaze turned cold as he shouted out. Drag them out. Chapter 284. The man at the very front had a cigarette in his mouth, and had a look of, I am a big shot, on his face, but his expression seemed to be a bit unhappy, as if he was suffering from constipation. The 4 people following behind him also looked weird. One was a handsome uncle, one was a youngster, and one was a youngster who was wearing gold-rimmed glasses. You can go to work just by carrying a briefcase. There was also a cute little loli. School is about to start soon. This is not a place that you should come to, but uncle has lollipops here. They are very delicious. This group of people was naturally Yihua and 4 of the 7 deadly sins. Just that, Zhu Tian's expression wasn't very good, because he had done something wrong. Yi Zizi yawned as she slapped her lips with her little hand. Today she was also wearing a public dress, and there was even a big bow on her head, looking extremely cute. Wei Chong and Lai Gu had a smile on their faces, looking as if they were old friends. Who are you guys? The guard looked at Yi Hua and the others vigilantly. Where did these 5 people come from? I have never seen them in Ji family before. Yi Hua didn't have the mood to converse with salted fish. As a subordinate, I naturally have to understand what the boss means. Zhu Tian said faintly, bring us in. The 2 guards and the boss went into a daze for a moment, then said respectfully, please enter. Zhu Tian's greatest ability was to change a person's thinking. It could be said to be hypnosis. Zhu Tian also had another skill that was very awesome. That was speed. In the team, Yi Zizi was the symbol of strength, and Zhu Tian was the symbol of speed. His speed was extremely fast, causing people to be unable to extricate themselves. Wei Chang's strength was rather comprehensive. There wasn't anything that was too outstanding, but when he transformed into his original form, he would cause people's hair to stand on end. There was no need to say much about Lai Gu. He was known as the overlord of the sky. The other 3 7 deadly sins also had their own specialties. Their entire team was capable of both land, sea and air. If not, they wouldn't have gathered all of the overlords to annihilate them back then. Back then, as the leader of the team, Yihua's physical attack was the weakest, but his magic attack was the strongest, and those overlords also understood this point. Thus they put down the barriers between each other, and made a series of plans to fight over the treasures, truly reaching the point of sharing the treasures. Therefore, Yihua and the 7 deadly sins were being targeted. After all, overlords all had their own dignity, and for them to unite and share the treasures, this was a magnificent feat that had never been heard before. Even though they managed to exterminate Yihua and the others in the end, their side had also suffered heavy losses. However, at the end of the day, they managed to return peace to the continent. However, they had no idea that the skeleton monster from back then was still alive, and its strength was even more monstrous. Its subordinates were even more so. If they knew about this, they probably wouldn't be able to sleep well. The 2 imperial guards and the elder respectfully led the way at the front. Yihua smoked his cigarette and stared at everyone in the lobby. These damnable fellows messed up all of my plans. I really want to call the police and arrest them. Murderers. Ji Zizhen, who was inside, was formulating a series of annexation plans. Suddenly he saw a few figures appear outside the house. He immediately frowned. Seeing the peculiar gaze of the clan head, the crowd couldn't help but follow his gaze, and they were all baffled. Yihua and the others walked to the center of the crowd, and swept their gazes across the crowd. Tianju, who was standing at the back, shouted out, "Hurry up and kneel down to greet his honor." Yi Zizi took out a lollipop from her small pocket, unwrapped the lollipop and placed it in her mouth. A cute smile appeared on Yi Zizi's face, and her pair of scarlet eyes became even more intense. His honor will definitely let me eat until I'm full today. Hearing Zhu Tian's words, everyone in Ji family was stupefied, especially those elders. After recovering from their shock, all of them knelt down on the ground. "Greetings, Lord His Honor." Ji Zizhen didn't believe that the person in front of him was the legendary deity. Impossible. This is a legend from thousands of years ago. Why would he suddenly descend upon this world? He is definitely an imposter. Ji and Jiting looked towards their big brother. Just what is going on? Should we kneel down and greet him? All of the elders kneeled down. You all are deities? Ji Zizhen's expression became gloomy as he asked. Wei Chong could be heard shouting out, "Impudent! How can trash-like deities compare to his honor?" Yi Zizi, who was sucking on the lollipop, said, And all deities are trash. Reveal your identities, if not, we will deal with you all as if you are invaders." Ji shouted out gravely, and the blood plate was already in his hand. Yihua lightly puffed out a mouthful of smoke, then said faintly, "How can you all know my identity? Furthermore, I have long invaded this world." Zhu Tian understood what Ji meant. and he immediately threw out a flying knife, which pierced onto Ji's chest. Lowering his head and looking at the familiar flying knife, Ji had a dazed look on his face. Jiteng suddenly stood up, then pointed at Zhu Tian and shouted out, "Big brother, it's him. He is the one who was playing with flying knives in the crowd, causing us to become furious, causing us to fail." Everyone in the hall inhaled a mouthful of cold air. Only now did a lot of people realize that they had fallen into someone else's trap. "You talk too much." Zhu Tian laughed lightly. The flying knife appeared once again, but it was different from before. The sharp knife pierced through Jiteng's right cheek and came out from the left cheek, and the edge of the knife just happened to seal Jiteng's mouth. Audacious! Ji threw out the blood plate, and the blood plate headed towards Yihua's head. Yihua said faintly, "If I were to move even a single step today, it would be considered as my loss." Just as the blood plate was about to cover Yihua's head, Lai Gu, who was behind, grabbed onto the sharp edge of the blood plate and rubbed it with his hand. The sharp edge of the blade could be seen to actually stop moving. This youngster actually used his own flesh and blood to stop an ancient godly item. In actuality, Lai Gu had secretly transformed out his dragon bones. Yi Zi's hair moved stealthily and appeared on top of Ji's head. A small mouth appeared on the head of the hair, and it was looking at Ji's skull. "Ji, be careful." Ji Zizhen, who was sitting on top, shouted loudly. But it was already too late. That little head had entered his body and instantly started sucking him dry. Ji's limbs twitched and his eyes rolled upwards. Ji Zizhen shouted loudly and prepared to attack. "If I didn't ask you to move, then don't move," Yihua said lightly. Meanwhile, Ji Zizhen felt a strong pressure pressing down on him, causing him to be unable to move. Yi Zizi's beautiful eyes curved into crescent moons as she sucked on the food. It was so delicious. Slurp. Seeing such a scene, everyone in the Ji family was shocked. An elder slapped the ground and shouted, "Retribution! This is retribution!" After sucking Ji dry, Yi Zizi tossed him to the side and licked the corner of her lips with her scarlet tongue. He cast a glance at the people in the area, and they shrank back. Yihua could be heard saying faintly, "All of you sit down. Let's talk about how you all are prepared to die." Yihua walked to Ji's seat and sat down. In actuality, the four of them were standing behind Yihua and were preparing to start a massacre. One of the elders could be heard shouting loudly, "You moved. You lost." Yihua went into a daze, then said faintly, "I never keep to my words." Everyone in the Ji family. "How can it be like this? You were the one who said it, and now your words don't count anymore. You can't lie to people like this. Our Ji family are all honest people, and yet we were deceived just like this." However, just as Yihua was preparing to enjoy himself, a golden light actually descended from outside the house. The powerful pressure coming from the golden light caused everyone to be extremely shocked. When the golden light dissipated, two men and a woman could be seen appearing outside the house, and they were all emitting godly might. Chapter 285. Towards the three people who had suddenly appeared, Yihua felt curious. Yihua immediately suppressed everyone, not allowing them to speak carelessly. As for Lai Gu, when he looked at this woman, he licked his lips and even swallowed his saliva. "This woman is not bad. How about I beg his honor to bestow her to me? Will his honor agree to it?" Absolute Heaven was not interested in women. After giving them a glance, he no longer paid any attention to them. Wei Chang's heart was in love with Tang Bingyao. His heart could not contain any other woman. From this, it could be seen that Lai Gu was a person with great love. Yi Zizi rolled her eyes at Lai Gu. This lecherous dragon's heart is budding again. Right now, Yihua's heart was divided into two pieces. One piece was given to Qingya, and the other piece was given to Donghuang Baiji. The woman was actually walking in front of the two men. She was actually the boss. Lai Gu licked his dry lips. Yihua felt that this woman was even better at acting cool than Qingya and the others. If it wasn't for him being curious, he would have given her a slap. After seeing Madame Ziyuan, "Why aren't you kneeling down and greeting her?" One of the men behind shouted out gravely. Lai Gu's mouth had already turned into an O shape. God's wife, so exciting. Madame Ziyuan's original name was Zishan. After marrying into the prince mansion, she was conferred the title of Madame Ziyuan. Her strength was naturally very powerful, but she didn't know how to serve Prince Yi. Although her appearance was outstanding, Prince Yi wasn't fond of her, and thus, Prince Yi casually threw her an idle position. However, today, when Madame Ziyuan, who was feeling bored, saw that the Ji family in the secular world had a strange phenomenon, she decided to come down to relieve her boredom and punish the Ji family while she was at it. After all, these three magnates were the little aces that the prince had left in the secular world. As soon as he arrived, he could feel the cries of vengeful spirits. It seemed that the Ji family had just killed someone. After walking in, he felt that the people of the Ji family were trembling in fear. It was very strange. The more Lai Gu looked at the woman, the more his heart was moved. This woman's skin is fair and beautiful. Furthermore, her bearing is different from the three women that I have. I am currently lacking a woman like this. She was still the gentle type, Wan Xiao was the cool type, and Bai Xiaozhen was the cute and petite type. The only one missing was the cold and arrogant type. Besides, during this time, all three of his wives have gone to film, and he can't sleep alone. He doesn't want to touch other women. Didn't this just happen to be delivered to his doorstep? That was great. Who are you people? Ji Zizhen asked while being controlled, but he still maintained a clear mind. The man behind Madame Ziyuan shouted out. Impudent, you actually dare to be disrespectful in front of Madame Ziyuan. He raised his hand and slapped the air. Pa. This sound was really loud, and in an instant, a fiery red mark appeared on Ji Zizhen's face. Madame Ziyuan said lightly, to think that a mere three big powers would dare to be so impudent. From the looks of it, we will have to properly discipline them. Ji Ting pulled out the knife from his mouth and shouted, who cares? Reckless. Madame Ziyuan shouted out. A man behind him instantly appeared in front of Ji Ting. Grabbing him by the neck with a single hand, he sealed Ji Ting's spiritual energy and strangled him to death. This was retribution for evil. Yi Hua took out a stick of cigarette, got into the sitting posture of a big boss, then lit up the cigarette. I didn't expect that this group of people was also here to teach Ji family a lesson. However, for her to actually not put the three big powers in her eyes, this point is rather interesting. His curiosity was piqued, and his mood became slightly better. Ji Zizhen, who was in a higher position, could only watch helplessly as his two younger brothers died miserably on the spot. Ji Zizhen's eyes were bloodshot. What was ironic was that each of the two groups of people were killing one brother each. However, I didn't expect that these three people were actually deities. If that's the case, could it be that these three people are the group of people who have been killing outside for the past few days? Madame Ziyuan placed her gaze onto Yi Hua. This man's expression is indifferent, seemingly not afraid of me at all. Furthermore, he is even smoking something. This is simply a great disrespect to me. Lowly humans. To actually be so impudent in front of a deity. Yi Hua let go of everyone's restraints, and he was very curious as to which side would they beg for mercy from. Everyone felt that their bodies had become lighter, and their gazes were puzzled. However, no matter what, now that a deity has appeared, we have to pay our respects. Lord Deity. Other than Ji Zizhen, everyone from Ji family kneeled on the ground obediently. Of course, other than Yi Hua and his group. Ji Zizhen took a look at Yi Hua, then took a look at Madame Ziyuan, and in the end, he made a decision in his heart. Slowly walking to the front of Madame Ziyuan, he kneeled on the ground and shouted out, Lord Deity. Madame Ziyuan lightly raised her hand, and everyone was propped up by a formless power. Those who know their wrongs and are able to correct themselves can still be saved. However, some people are beyond saving. Madame Ziyuan looked towards Yi Hua and his group. Ji Zizhen seemed to have forgotten that this woman had just killed his younger brother, and he hurriedly said, Lord Deity, this group of people are invaders. If Lord Deity doesn't appear, I reckon that Ji family will be exterminated. Yi Hua flicked away the cigarette ash and said, even if I appear, I won't be able to stop your footsteps of extermination. Audacious. The two men shouted out gravely. Madame Ziyuan waved her hand, indicating to the two subordinates to not make a move, as she still had questions that she wanted to ask. Yi Hua was the same as well. And who are you? Madame Ziyuan asked. Yi Hua silently took a puff of the cigarette, then said calmly, I am a good person. Ji family cursed out in their hearts. If you are a good person, then there wouldn't be any bad people in this world. He is the one who barged into Ji family and killed my second brother. Lord Deity, killing this lowly one is a small matter, but this lowly one has offended your dignity. Ji Zizhen was a smart person, but he begged for mercy from the wrong side. However, even if he begged for mercy from the right side, the consequences would still be the same. Since Yi Hua had already made his decision, he wouldn't change it easily. Is what he said true or not? Madame Ziyuan questioned gravely. Yi Hua asked curiously, They messed up my plans and killed a lot of innocent people. I am grieved and hateful. Grieved and hateful. Indeed, I am grieved and hateful. Yi Hua didn't lie, he is just grieving and hateful for his own plans. Lord Deity, don't believe him. Yi Hua said faintly. Zhu Tian, let her take a look. Zhu Tian took out his phone, then walked in front of Madame Ziyuan with a smile on his face, and opened up the video. The video was filled with Ji family's brutality, and the evidence of Ji family covering up the truth. Those people were originally mine. And in the end, they were killed by Ji family. Thus, it shouldn't be too much for me to exterminate a family, right? Yi Hua said gravely. Madame Ziyuan turned her head around and looked towards Ji Zizhen. What else do you have to quibble about? Lord Deity. Ji Zizhen didn't know how to explain himself. Could it be that I am going to swallow up other big powers? If that's the case, my head is going to fall onto the ground. Madame Ziyuan said faintly. For deceiving a deity, your soul shall be extinguished. Madame Ziyuan could be seen slapping onto the top of Ji Zizhen's head. Ji Zizhen opened his eyes wide, and was in disbelief. How big of a matter is this? Deceiving a person is equivalent to killing them. This man also deceived everyone just now. Why isn't he dead yet? Furthermore, he is still smoking like a big shot. I am not willing to accept this. A nameless flame started burning out from within Ji Zizhen's body, and very quickly, Ji Zizhen turned into a flaming man. Chapter 286. Alright, this made Yi Hua recall back in the past, how many humans would act cool in front of me. Only at the very last moment would they understand how wonderful it was to act cool in front of me. After all, the difference in strength was the biggest flaw. For example, this so-called deity in front of me. I really don't know who gave her the courage to actually say such a thing. Doesn't she know that today is the last time you can act cool? His honor was offended, and the four people behind him were already getting restless. Even Lai Gu had the urge to kill this woman in front of him. She is overestimating herself too much. His honor can only be revered and cannot be offended. This is a crime that will result in the execution of all 9 generations of one's family. Yi Hua stretched out his hand and signaled the 4 people behind him to not act recklessly. Although this woman was very disrespectful towards me, there are still some things that I want to know. For example, the 3 insignificant big shots. What is the meaning of this deity? Is this deity of hers the same as the deity from my side? Or are they just colleagues? Or are they just superiors and subordinates? This has once again aroused my curiosity. This woman sure knows how to save herself. Hearing that, Yi Hua took a puff of his cigarette, then asked curiously, Are all you deities so arrogant? Madame Ziyuan seemed to have become interested as well. She signaled the 2 people behind her to not act recklessly. I have never seen such a daring man before. Let's see what he has to say. Madame Ziyuan walked over and sat on Ji Ting's seat, while her 2 subordinates tossed Ji Zizhen and Ji Ting's corpses to the side. Ji family's people in the surroundings didn't even dare to breathe loudly, because they couldn't afford to offend these people. From Madame Ziyuan's sitting posture, it could be seen that this woman wasn't like Donghuang Baiji, who had the appearance of being the sole ruler. Madame Ziyuan's sitting posture was more like that of a married woman. Her beautiful face was like the calm surface of a lake. There wasn't any fluctuation in her emotions, and within her eyes, there was only a trace of curiosity. Seemingly because of this, Yi Hua and the others didn't die. Unbeknownst to them, Yi Hua's curiosity was only aroused. You guys can still stand and talk? Madame Ziyuan said lightly. Deities are naturally above all living things, This logic is very simple. How many overlords do you deities worship? Yihua asked curiously. Back then I killed quite a lot of supremes, and from the number of supremes, I can determine the strength of this wave of deities. If there are many supremes, then naturally they are strong. If there are few supremes, Madame Ziyuan laughed lightly. It must be said that Madame Ziyuan's smile was rather comfortable to look at. If not, Madame Ziyuan wouldn't have been fancied by Her Highness. Just that, Yihua was no longer interested in other women. Weichong was the same as well. And Zhu Tian was not interested in women at all. Only Lai Gu was slightly moved by Madame Ziyuan. However, this kind of feeling was different from before. This kind of feeling was the feeling of wanting to hang him up and beat him up. To actually dare to be disrespectful to his honor. Candles and whips served his honor. Supreme beings are lofty and unparalleled existences. Worshipping them is disrespectful to them. After pausing for a moment, Madame Ziyuan continued to ask, You calling yourself the Supreme Exalted is already a blasphemy towards the Supreme Exalted. You will not be able to escape from death. Yihua laughed lightly. Overlords are all lofty and unparalleled existences. Then what kind of existences are Supreme Overlords? Supreme Honorable? Supreme Honorable won't appear in the future. Madame Ziyuan said faintly, seemingly losing her patience. Yihua flicked off a bit of cigarette ash, then said calmly, Congratulations, the Supreme Honorable that you said will never appear is currently sitting in front of you. According to what you said just now, shouldn't you be kneeling in front of me and praying to me? Impudent. The two people behind Madame Ziyuan burst out with an astonishing godly might, and all of Ji family's members who were inside the hall spurted out blood and died. What dogs hit deities, they are even more formidable than the Supreme Overlord when it comes to killing people. Just that, the Supreme Overlord is doing it openly, while the two of you are doing it sneakily. Madame Ziyuan's two subordinates rushed towards Yihua. However, when they were less than a meter away from Yihua, their bodies stopped, and soon after, they returned to Madame Ziyuan's side. Zhu Tian's expression was completely normal, and he didn't seem like he was being controlled by someone. Zhu Tian naturally knew of his honor's intentions. Killing people was not his honor's original intention. Toying with people was his original intention. Madame Ziyuan's expression sunk slightly. I am naturally aware of the abnormality of my two subordinates, but I don't know why. It is impossible for these few people to do anything under my nose. Could it be that my husband gave them some sort of restriction? This can only be the only possibility. Yihua said faintly. This conversation is about to end here. Madam, I will give you a bit of time to consider. Are you going to kneel or not? Weichong, Yi Zizi, didn't the two of you want to have a competition? Although there aren't a million people here, there are at least tens of thousands of people. Go and have some fun. Yihua said faintly. Madame Ziyuan could be seen shouting out. This Ji family is my husband's servant. You are still not qualified. Right after Madame Ziyuan finished speaking, a godly might burst out from Madame Ziyuan's body, and the spiritual energy of the world gathered towards her from all directions. Madame Ziyuan's entire body seemed like a dazzling sun that was emitting out the godly might of the world. The entire hall was instantly turned into ashes, and even the corpses were vaporized. As expected of a deity, just her aura alone is already so formidable. However, in Yihua's eyes, Madame Ziyuan was merely trying to please the crowd. Watching this woman's performance is also not bad. For offending a deity, I, the madam, shall bestow upon the two of you the death penalty. Madame Ziyuan shouted out. Yihua let out a light sigh. I have already said it. If I tell you to wait, then just wait. There is no need for you to be in such a hurry to die. Yihua lightly flicked his finger. All of Madame Ziyuan's mana was instantly sealed by Yihua, as if her power supply was cut off. Madame Ziyuan powerlessly retreated a few steps back, and sat down absent-mindedly. Madame Ziyuan looked at Yihua blankly. This is impossible. He was actually able to seal me in an instant. Even my husband was unable to do it, but this man was able to do it. Could it be that he really is? This is definitely impossible. Overlords are existences that are like nothingness. How can they possibly live in this kind of low-grade world? Let's begin. We still have to rush back. Yi Hua said lightly. Yi Zizi smiled. Gluttonous monster, let's compete. I will satisfy you. Wei Chang said with a slight smile. What an amiable subordinate, talking and laughing with each other. Then look at those two. As the leader of the team, Yi Hua wasn't that serious right now. When his subordinates were joking around with each other, it would also increase their friendship. However, when it is time to be serious, one should still be serious. Wei Chang and Yi Zizi did not move. Immediately, Wei Chang's hands transformed into countless tentacles that looked like pythons. Those that have trypophobia would definitely vomit. Meanwhile, Yi Zizi's hair extended out of the hall along the ground. In an instant, the entire Ji family was filled with screams that soared to the heavens. Looking down from the sky, Ji family seemed to have been coiled by pythons. Furthermore, those blood-red hair looked very strange and chilling. Madame Ziyuan gazed at Wei Chang and Yi Zizi. Those tentacles that Wei Chang used were being transported into Madame Ziyuan's body one by one. From the shape of the tentacles, one could easily tell what those tentacles were. Madame Ziyuan couldn't help but retch. Wei Chang is simply not human. Chapter 287. About 2 minutes later, Wei Chang and Yi Zizi returned to normal. Wei Chang burped. Yi Zizi. Slurp, Yi Hua asked faintly. Who won? Your Honor, subordinate is slightly better. Wei Chang said modestly. Yi Zizi refused to accept it and said in a tender voice. Shameless. You even ate the corpse that I sucked. Wei Chang chuckled without saying a word. All right, I, the Supreme Overlord, will declare the match to be a draw, Yi Hua said. Yi Zizi pouted her small mouth, and Wei Chang patted onto Yi Zizi's head with a smile. Looking at the two people behind Madame Ziyuan, Yi Hua said faintly, deal with them. Yi Zizi took the lead and stretched out 2 strands of her beautiful hair. Right in front of Madame Ziyuan, she sucked the 2 of them dry, leaving behind only their skin. Your Honor, this deity's taste is indeed different. It has been a long time since I enjoyed a deity's taste. What Yi Zizi meant was that I want to suck that woman's taste as well. Even Wei Chang started to purse his lips. It should be very delicious. That tender skin should be especially good to chew. Lai Gu was unwilling. This woman wants to be given to me. Have you thought it through? I, the Supreme Overlord, am very impatient. Yi Hua said lightly. You are truly in Jizun. Madame Ziyuan asked gravely. I haven't been a supreme being for many years. Hurry up and decide. They're not full yet. Yi Hua urged. In actuality, I wanted to spare this woman's life. My woman actually became your slave. Gods all had their own servants to do things for them. And the 3 leaders were such servants. This enmity has been formed. I'll settle it slowly. Madame Ziyuan naturally understood the strength of this person. For this person to be able to easily seal me. At the very least, he is about to enter the ranks of overlords. Paying respect to Yi Hua out of politeness is a must, but I just feel uncomfortable in my heart. It was as if he had been slapped in the face. Madame Ziyuan slowly stood up, then bowed slightly in front of Yi Hua, which could be considered as a greeting. Looking at Madame Ziyuan's actions, Yi Hua said faintly, Is this how you deities pay respect to an overlord? Not even kneeling down. Supremes are figures revered by the gods. Although you have strength, you are not the supremes conferred by the heavens. Yi Hua once again lit up a cigarette. It's this sentence again, what a joke. Wei Chang bellowed. Kneel. Plop. Under the enormous spiritual pressure, Madame Ziyuan finally knelt down in front of Yi Hua. Looking at Madame Ziyuan who was kneeling on the ground, Yi Hua said gravely, What the hell are you talking about? All gods have servants, and my wife is actually one of your servants as well. Tell me, how should I punish you and your gods? Madame Ziyuan who was kneeling on the ground said gravely. Madame Ziyuan gasped for breath, and her face was flushed red from anger. However, there was nothing she could do. As a high and mighty deity, apart from kneeling to the heavens and earth, he had never even knelt to his husband. But today he was kneeling in the mortal world. Since you don't want to speak, I will first propose your punishment plan. Look at you, you seem to be married. Remarry. If you want Donghuang Baiji to be my slave, Then I will have your woman serve my little brother. I wonder what kind of expression those deities will have when they see this. I am really looking forward to it. Madame Ziyuan. Lai Gu felt that his opportunity had come. Madame Ziyuan shouted out gravely, "You can't do this. I have a husband." Yi Hua said gravely, "Can't your noble and delicate body be tainted by others? I have yet to make you a slave. You should feel fortunate." Madame Ziyuan wanted to resist, but her entire body was being suppressed, and she was unable to move at all. Facing a powerful being, there was really nothing she could do. "Zhu Tian, do you want it?" Yi Hua asked curiously. In actuality, he knew that Zhu Tian wasn't interested in women, and furthermore, this woman wasn't worthy of Zhu Tian. Zhu Tian smiled respectfully. "Your Honor, Zhu Tian doesn't get close to women. Thank your Honor for your good intentions." Lai Gu, who was at the side, was overjoyed. "Your Honor, hurry up and call me. You are the one who understands Lai Gu the most. Hurry up and bestow it to me." Yi Hua rubbed onto his forehead. "Wei Chong among my subordinates, who else isn't married? Or those who don't have a girlfriend?" Lai Gu's expression sunk as he hurriedly said, "Your Honor, bestow it to subordinate. You already have 3. What else do you want? You are occupying the latrine without taking a shit." Yi Hua shouted out. "I am truly worried." Lai Gu let out a heavy sigh. "Who doesn't want to have more wives? My godly wife is gone just like that. And His Honor even said that I am occupying the latrine without taking a shit. There is no such thing at all." Wei Chong said respectfully. "Right now, Death Mage and Sin Fong are stuck together like glue. And this is even with His Honor's matchmaking. If there is anyone who doesn't have a girlfriend yet, I am afraid that it would only be the Red and Green brothers." Madame Ziyuan's eyebrows wrinkled. This His Honor is actually matchmaking subordinates, and he is even a matchmaker. What the hell are these Red and Green brothers? What should I do? I am currently sealed. I am unable to run away at all. Yi Hua said faintly, "These Red and Green brothers' performance is indeed not bad. Not only did they escort my daughter back, their performance in the first mission was also outstanding, and they are in line with my expectations. Wei Chong, call the 2 of them over." Right now, the Green and Red brothers were currently. The scene was a bit comical. The television could be seen to be switched on, and the television could be seen to be playing aerobics. 1 2 3 4, 2 2 3 4 3 2 3 4. Tang Wei was leading the team, and the Green and Red brothers were standing behind Tang Wei. The Green and Red brothers were wearing green and red skin-tight clothes, and a sweat-absorbing headband was tied on their heads. Right now, Big Brother Green was truly green from head to toe, and Little Brother Red was joyful. "Come, sprinkle your sweat and jump." The coach's voice rang out from the television. The Green and Red brothers swallowed their saliva as they looked at sister-in-law's perky buttocks. "Sister-in-law is too sexy. Big Brother, what kind of wife do you think I should look for in the future?" Little Brother Red asked curiously. Big Brother Green paused for a moment, then consoled. "Little brother, it will be fine if it's a woman. Don't have too high of a requirement. After all, there are too many bachelors nowadays." Then Big Brother, "What requirements do you have for your wife?" Little Brother Red asked. However, both of their gazes were placed onto sister-in-law's perky buttocks. Big Brother Green let out a light sigh. Big Brother doesn't have high requirements. As long as the wife is half as good as sister-in-law, it will be fine. That's right, if I had a wife like sister-in-law, it would be fine even if my lifespan was shortened by half a day. Little Brother Red sighed. Tang Wei turned her head around and shouted out, "Have you seen enough?" "Haven't seen enough. Haven't seen enough." The Green and Red brothers were still reminiscing about their own wives, and thus they casually said it out. Tang Wei's beautiful eyes turned cold as she picked up the chicken feather stick that was at the side. "Stretch out your palm." "Sister-in-law, we also don't want to do that. It's just that sister-in-law, you are too sexy." Big Brother Green hurriedly explained. That's right, sister-in-law is the most beautiful woman that we have ever seen. Big Brother is really fortunate." Tang Wei snorted. "At least you 2 know how to talk, but don't look around. Be careful that your big brother might dig your eyes out." The Green and Red brothers let out a breath of relief. Sister-in-law is only gentle towards Big Brother. I am so jealous of Big Brother, however. The green and red brothers still didn't know that a meat pie had fallen from the sky. The two of you come over for a bit. Wei Cheng's voice rang out within the green and red brothers' minds. Chapter 288. When the green and red brothers appeared at the scene, Yihua was shocked by what they were wearing. Your Honor! Your Honor! The green and red brothers hurriedly shouted out. Why didn't Uncle Wei say this earlier? For such a big matter like meeting His Honor, we definitely have to be a bit more formal, and green and red cloaks are definitely a must. Look at what they are wearing right now. It's even a tight-fitting one piece. And there's a big lump at the crotch of their pants. This is so awkward. There's even a woman who is kneeling here. What's going on? Wei Chong coughed lightly. Green and red brothers, His Honor has bestowed upon the two of you a marriage. The green and red brothers were stupefied. Just a moment ago, I was still thinking about my wife, and His Honor actually pulled me into a marriage. His Honor is truly too understanding toward subordinates. Could it be that the woman who is kneeling right now, although I can't see her face, judging from her figure, she should be very good? Madame Ziyuan slowly turned her head around to take a look at what kind of people the green and red brothers are. When she saw them, they indeed live up to their reputation. Red and green. The green and red brothers saw it. They saw the woman's face. My God, she's so beautiful. Too beautiful, too beautiful. I'm so excited, His Honor is simply too great. Yihua waved his hand, and the green and red brothers walked in front of Yihua and kneeled down on one knee. Are you too satisfied with this woman? Yihua asked faintly. How can I not be satisfied? I am simply too satisfied. Even in my dreams, I would always dream of having a fairy sister like this. Subordinate is satisfied. Subordinate is satisfied. Madame Ziyuan's heart was about to collapse. To actually ask two humans if they are satisfied. This is simply trampling on my dignity. Yihua let out a light sigh. I will say this first. This woman has been with a man before. Do you two mind? I don't mind. I don't mind. Yihua became curious and asked, Little Red, tell me, why don't you mind? Your Honor, there are too few pure women in this era, and most of them have already been taken away. Initially, I only requested for the woman to be with me, but I didn't expect that Your Honor would be so worried about subordinates' matters. Subordinate is touched. While speaking, little brother Red actually started crying. Other than my mother, only His Honor treats me so well. Even Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were only chosen out of millions of people. From this, it could be seen just how rare Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were. Since the two of you don't mind, the two of you can discuss who is going to take over the wedding. I, the Supreme Overlord, will host a wedding for the two of you. Yihua was in a pretty good mood. Only now did the green and red brothers realize a problem. There was only one woman here. How were they going to split her up? Big brother Green didn't say anything, and little brother Red also didn't say anything. The green and red brothers wouldn't grow apart because of a woman, right? Little brother, how about we use the old method? Big brother Green took a deep breath and said. Little brother Red nodded his head. All right, best of three. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. Wait a minute. Madame Ziyuan immediately called out to stop Madame Ziyuan. How could his own fate be decided by rock, paper, scissors? Yihua looked towards Madame Ziyuan and asked faintly. What happened? Madame Ziyuan was not a fool. She knew that she would definitely not be able to escape, and even if she wanted to die, it would be hard for her to do so. If she had to make a choice, she would have to make the choice herself. He would look for an opportunity to escape in the future. Since it has come to this, I want to make the choice myself. Madame Ziyuan said gravely. This kind of humiliation, I will definitely take revenge for it in the future. Yihua felt that it was fine, then turned towards the green and red brothers and asked. Do the two of you agree? The green and red brothers glanced at each other and nodded. All right, stand up. It's not good to kneel in this kind of atmosphere. Yihua suddenly liked this kind of feeling a lot. Seems like as the boss, I have to take care of the happiness of my underlings. Also, this Zhu Tian, it won't do if he doesn't like women. In the future, I will find a good woman for him. The three stood up and faced each other. Madame Ziyuan's expression was calm. There was no nervousness nor shyness on her face. On the other hand, the green and red brothers' faces were as red as a monkey's buttocks. They were so nervous that they wanted to die. Their hands were even holding each other's hands. They were really good gay friends. I choose him, Madame Ziyuan said faintly. Big Brother Green gradually opened his mouth wide in disbelief. Little Brother Red hugged onto his big brother and spun around, then shouted out excitedly, "Big Brother, I have a wife." "Huh. That's great." Big Brother Green had a dumbfounded look on his face. Why did he choose his little brother and not himself? Don't you have any idea what's going on? Forgive me. In actuality, Madame Ziyuan had her own motive for choosing Little Brother Red. Little Brother Red looks like an idiot, and is very easy to deceive. From his gaze, it can be seen that I am able to control him and use him to escape. Don't look at this Big Brother Green's frivolous and exaggerated appearance. In actuality, he is calm and reserved. He belongs to the type that is hard to control. The excited Little Brother Red gave his big brother a passionate kiss on the spot. This caused Yihua to laugh heartily. I am happy today. The four subordinates behind Yihua also revealed a smile on their faces. His honor sure has put in a lot of effort. Big brother, little brother wants to break up with you. In the future, you have to take good care of yourself. Little Brother Red was reluctant to part with Yihua, seemingly as if he was going to separate from the family in the future. Big Brother Green was speechless, and his heart was collapsing. Little brother actually has such a beautiful wife. As a big brother, I should be happy, but I am unable to be happy. I am so depressed. Little Green, don't be disheartened. I will naturally find someone for you in the future. Yihua said with a smile on his face. Just for the sake of bringing Ali back, not to mention one, I will even find a group of them. Hearing that his honor had expressed his stance, Big Brother Green immediately became energetic again. Let's break up then. His honor can introduce someone better to me in the future. Holding on to his big brother's hand, Little Brother Red said gratefully, Big brother, little brother is going to get married soon. I hope that you can continue on your path of being single for a long time. Big Brother Green. Wrong. Heaven never bars one's way. I will have a wife soon. Little brother will be leaving first then. Big Brother Green slapped onto Little Brother Red's shoulder unhappily. You are forgetting about me just because you have a wife. All right, everyone, quiet down. Yihua said faintly. The Green and Red brothers stopped quarreling. Little Red, leave your wedding to me. Yihua was still very concerned about the Green and Red brothers, and this was all because of Ali. Little Brother Red immediately squatted down. Thank you, Your Honor. It is still too early to thank me, because I still have a mission for you. Yihua said gravely, and a faint murderous intent could be heard from his tone. Everyone present was slightly startled. Ever since his honor came in, his honor has been very calm, but now he is emitting out murderous intent. What does he mean? Your Honor, please speak. Subordinate will not hesitate to die 10,000 times. Right now, Little Brother Red is his honor's fan. If anyone dares to disrespect his honor, I will exterminate his entire family. Yihua's murderous intent could be heard. I will give you 2 months' time. If she is not pregnant, you are to personally kill her. Right now, only Wei Chong knew what his honor meant. Back then, Death Mage and Sun Fong were also frightened by his honor. From the looks of it, his honor is indeed treating the Green and Red brothers very well. Chapter 289. Madame Ziyuan's expression became gloomy. So shameless. How shameless. What is your name? Yihua asked Madame Ziyuan. Zishan. Yihua nodded his head. Since he is someone that you have chosen, then you should properly cooperate with him. Don't stray more than 10 meters away from him. If not, my little brother will become a bachelor again. Zishan's expression sunk. This is equivalent to sealing off all of my paths. All right, let's kiss each other to express our gratitude. After that, I will be leaving too. Yihua said faintly. Ali is still waiting for me to return home. Kiss. Looking at Little Brother Red, who was dressed entirely in red, Zishan didn't want to touch him no matter what. Big Brother Green pushed Little Brother Red. Right now, Big Brother Green's mood wasn't that gloomy anymore. After all, His honor said that he was going to introduce someone to me, and that person definitely wouldn't be bad. It was indeed not bad, but Big Brother Green almost collapsed. Because it was a cross race, Little Brother Red was pushed to Zishan's side. Zishan was roughly 1.7 meters tall, while Little Brother Red was roughly 1.7 meters tall. When the two of them stood together, they looked quite compatible. However, Little Brother Red was very shy. Not knowing what to do, Little Brother Red scratched onto the back of his head and didn't dare to face the woman in front of him. He felt that this woman's aura was very similar to that of his homeroom teacher. Hee. Little Brother Red continued to smile foolishly. Kiss, what are you waiting for? Big Brother Green shouted out anxiously. He was really anxious to death. Back then, the novels he wrote were so explosive, but now he didn't even dare to kiss them. Yihua said faintly, Xiaohong, a man should be a bit more courageous. Yes, Your Honor. Little Brother Red took in a deep breath, then exhaled. While circulating, suddenly, Zishan grabbed onto Little Brother Red's collar, then pulled. Little Brother Red was not allowed to watch. Little Brother Red opened his eyes wide and had a dumbfounded look on his face. The softness on Little Brother Red's lips felt so real. Is this a kiss? It felt so comfortable. However, Zishan's thoughts were different. Right now, she wanted to let them know that she seemed to have accepted the truth, but she was only thinking about how to escape. She just didn't expect her first kiss to be given to a despicable human. In actuality, the reason why Zishan was still a virgin right now was because she wasn't willing to serve His Highness, and thus, she was punished. However, I didn't expect that Little Brother Red would be able to take advantage of Zishan. If after the punishment ends, His Highness finds out that his beloved wife had disappeared, and that her beloved wife had even gotten together with a non-mainstream man, he would definitely explode from anger. Little Brother Red had really won 5 million yuan. In actuality, this was even better than winning 5 million yuan. After all, he was a god-level figure. Lai Gu's heart was dripping blood. God's wife was actually snatched away by my little brother. I'll teach you how to comb your hair in the middle. How dare you steal Big Brother's woman? I will prepare the new house. Wei Chang can stay at your place for the time being. Yihua stood up and said faintly, Yes, today's matter shall end here. All of you can disperse. After finished speaking, Yihua disappeared from the scene. Very quickly, Zhu Tian, Yi Zizi and Lai Gu also disappeared. Wei Chang looked at Little Brother Red and said with a smile, What are you blanking out for? Let's go out for lunch. Big Brother Green grabbed onto his little brother's shoulder and said teasingly, Isn't it great? Isn't it great? Behave yourself, don't laugh foolishly. Little Brother Red was currently smiling foolishly. Happiness came too suddenly. Zishan's face was calm. When the group returned to the rented house, they saw that Tang Wei was currently washing vegetables and preparing to cook. You guys are back? Quickly go and buy some green onions. Tang Wei stood in the kitchen and shouted. Wei Chang smiled and said, Xiao Tang, don't do it anymore. Xiao Hong has a happy occasion today. Let's go to the restaurant for lunch. Happy occasion? Tang Wei turned her head around to take a look and saw that there was another woman who had an extremely beautiful appearance. The woman's dressing and appearance looked very noble. She is? Tang Wei asked curiously. Wei Chang held on to Tang Wei's shoulder and said with a smile, This is Zishan, His Honor betrothed her to Little Red. Tang Wei had a shocked expression on her face, then said happily, Xiao Hong, congratulations, you have to treat us to lunch. Treat? Of course I have to treat. Little Brother Red said embarrassedly with his head lowered. From time to time he would take a look at Zishan. So beautiful. I actually have such a beautiful wife. I feel like I'm dreaming. But we don't have enough rooms in our house. Tang Wei pursed her lips. Originally, it was supposed to be a world of 2 people, but now there are more and more people in the house. Wei Chang rubbed onto Tang Wei's beautiful hair. His Honor is very attentive this time. He will definitely arrange everything properly. Big Brother Green said hurriedly, I will just sleep on the sofa for the next few days. I will give my room to them. Big Brother, you treat me so well, let's not break up anymore. Little Brother Red had a grateful expression on his face. Big Brother has finally become a real big brother for once. Big Brother Green blushed with shame and said hurriedly, I don't want to be with you anymore, quickly break up. Everyone laughed happily, and only Zishan had a calm expression on her face. With such strength, they are actually living such a life. I really don't understand them. Little Brother Red's money was limited. The few of them came to a small fast food restaurant and arranged a table for them. This could be counted as treating them to lunch first. It was already noon when Yihua returned back to Leisure Bar. Originally, because the plan was messed up, Yihua was feeling gloomy in his heart, but I didn't expect that it would turn out to be Little Brother Red, causing his mood to become much better. Standing beside the bedroom's window, Yihua lit up a stick of cigarette. The wedding of the underling naturally has to be grand. And as the boss, I have to make proper arrangements. Things like the wedding room, who should I invite, and so on. Furthermore, right now, the plan is already messed up. Most of the bosses in the south have already passed away, and it would take too long for me to wait for them to recover their battle strength. Let's put these things aside for now. Thinking up to here, Yihua decided to discuss with his two wives about how big the scale of the wedding should be, and how big 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 the wedding should be. Suddenly, Yihua felt a surge of spiritual energy coming out from his body, causing his brows to wrinkle. Yihua immediately threw away the cigarette, but this time he didn't lie down on the bed. Instead, he fell onto the floor, and his hand was still stretching towards the wheelchair. Furthermore, Yihua revealed an expression of trying very hard. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji decided to come back. After all, there was still a disabled man and a daughter that they had to take care of at home. Yihua! Yihua! The two women cried out in surprise and immediately went over to support Yihua. After not being at home for a few days, Yihua became like this. What a failure of a wife. Let go of me, you two still know to come back. Yihua flung the wheelchair. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji looked at each other. As expected, Yihua is angry. Qingye said fawningly, we were wrong, don't be angry anymore darling, be good. Move aside, don't block me. Yihua said faintly, then used all his strength to crawl onto the wheelchair. I have already paved the way for my recovery to be successful. The two women were also overjoyed. My husband is finally getting a bit better, but right now he is throwing a tantrum. What should I do? Donghuang Baiji signaled to Qingye to go up. Yihua likes you the most. Don't think about seducing me, I don't fall for it anymore. Qingye could be heard leaning over and whispering a few words into Yihua's ears. Yihua deeply wrinkled his brows. Really? When have I ever lied to you? You are the only one who lies to me. Qingye pinched onto Yihua's cheeks petulantly. Chapter 290. Alright, in the future, if you two still don't return at night, just watch how I will teach you two a lesson. How is the matter going? Yihua asked. When Qingye told Donghuang Baiji about what happened today, she also told Yihua about her suspicions, causing Yihua's mind to tremble. They could actually see that it was a conspiracy. This was not a good thing, and now he had to use another matter to divert their attention. Do you still remember the Green and Red brothers? Xiaohong is getting married. Qingye naturally knew about it. These two brothers were good people. They had sent Ali here from afar. However, Donghuang Baiji had only met Ali once, and thus, she didn't know about the twists and turns between Ali and Donghuang Baiji. Qingye explained what happened to Donghuang Baiji. Donghuang Baiji was also the kind of woman who would repay kindness. Actually, I've already accepted those two brothers as my little brother's little brother's little brother. I'll take care of their entire wedding. Do you have any objections? Yihua asked faintly. However, that expression of his seemed to be saying, if you all dare to have any objections, you are forcing me to lose my temper. Donghuang Baiji definitely wouldn't have any objections. However, she asked curiously, Yihua, do you have the money to hold a wedding for my little brother's little brother? Isn't what's yours mine? Don't ask this kind of very stupid question. Yihua slapped onto Qingye's perky butt, causing Qingye to be very unhappy. After the flirting between the husband and wife, Yihua sat on the sofa, and the two wives snuggled up to him. From the looks of it, my injuries are almost completely healed. Do you all have any plans for the future? Yihua asked curiously. Qingya leaned on Yihua's shoulder and said faintly with her beautiful eyes closed, "Give birth to the child in peace." "What about you, Baiji?" Yihua asked. Donghuang Baiji said shyly, "Give birth to another one." This was the rhythm, comfortable. Yihua decided that for the next few years, his vision would be placed on his wife and child. The South would not be able to rise up in the next few years, and thus his plan could only be put on hold. Sun Fang no longer needed to look after the Ying family. As for absolute heaven, if he wanted to become a professor and meditate, then so be it. Right now there was nothing for him to do. With 3 celebrities supporting him, Lai Gu's life was very free and easy. Wei Chong was still trying to figure out how to push down Tang Bingyao. It was reckoned that even after little brother Red's child came out, Wei Chong would still not be able to make any progress. Yi Zizi was fooling around with Qing Yutong all day long, and the school term was about to start soon, so I have to supervise them. In any case, I don't have anything else to do. It was more or less arranged like that. Yihua, I want to go and thank that green and red brothers. Donghuang Baiji said tenderly. It is fortunate that my daughter ran into them. If not, what would I do if she ran into some bad people? Yihua laughed lightly. All right then. In actuality, I was the one who pulled the strings for little brother Red's marriage. Take it as my thanks. Yihua, how are you going to pull the strings if you stay at home? What kind of women do you know? Qingya hooked onto Yihua's chin and asked curiously. Actually, that gaze was asking, are you hiding another woman outside again? Donghuang Baiji also looked at Yihua with a serious expression. This is something that is absolutely not allowed. Holy shit, I said soon. He had dug a pit for himself. In any case, I'm also a person from the cultivation world. I remembered that I saved a woman in the past, and that woman wanted to return the favor. Didn't I get in touch with Wei Chong? Afterward, the 2 of them hit it off the moment they met, and I did a good deed. Yihua said faintly. He didn't even blink when he lied. Qingya responded then said, let me give Wei Chong a call and ask. Up to you. Yihua expressed that he didn't mind. This woman's thoughts are indeed scary. I have to be more careful in the future. Yihua hurriedly contacted Wei Chong and tried to get some information out of her. After ending the call, Qingya hugged onto Yihua's arm and said happily, Yihua, you are really too good. You even know how to be a matchmaker. You were still doubting me just now. What do you think I should do? Yihua snorted coldly. Qingya looked at Yihua coquettishly, then stuck out her perky butt. So alluring. This woman, I really love and hate her at the same time. Then, let's make a trip over tonight, lest you all say that I'm stingy. Yihua said faintly. If Baiji wants to go and thank Yihua, then let's go. After telling Donghuang Li that they are going to meet the green and red brothers tonight, the little fellow was also extremely excited. The buried love family is finally going to be reunited. When Wei Chong found out that his honor was going to come over tonight, he informed the green and red brothers, and of course, Zishan as well. Wei Chong told Zishan not to speak carelessly when the time comes, if not, the consequences will be very serious. In actuality, the atmosphere right now was still very awkward, especially between little brother Red and Zishan. Little brother Red had been laughing foolishly for a few hours already. If it wasn't for the fact that Zishan knew little brother Red, Zishan would definitely think that little brother Red was an idiot. And when Zishan saw the foolish little brother Red, she even had the heart to die. To actually laugh to that extent, I might as well just commit suicide, right? I really can't live on anymore. Big brother, what should I say to Zishan now? Little brother Red could only ask his big brother for help. Big brother has experience in love, even though he was cheated on by someone. That was a tragedy that was hard to forget. Big brother Green said based on his own experience. Don't be anxious, go and ask her right now, is her mood good today? Ask Zishan if her mood is good? This question is too sharp, too powerful. Little brother Red naturally listened to his big brother. Sitting beside Zishan, little brother Red asked in a low voice, are you in a good mood today? Zishan wished that she could slap little brother Red to death. You asked me if my mood is good or not. I was thrown to you like a commodity by your big brother, and you asked me if my mood is good or not, and I am even going to give birth to a child with you within 2 months. If I don't give birth, I am going to die. Tell me if my mood is good or not." Seeing that Zishan's face was black and not speaking, Little Brother Red walked over to Big Brother Green's side. "She isn't speaking," Little Brother Red said helplessly. Right now, Big Brother Green was a bit glad that Zishan didn't choose me. Zishan is simply like an ancestor. I have to worship her. Big Brother Green patted onto his little brother's shoulder and said, "Don't be discouraged, she might be too excited to speak." "Is that so? Why do I feel that she wants to kill me?" "This means that your feeling is correct." Big Brother Green sighed. Little Brother Red had a bitter look on his face. "I have a wife, yet I don't seem to have one. No wonder even Big Brother isn't jealous of me anymore." "Big Brother, what should I do now?" Little Brother Red also wanted to talk to a beautiful woman. Big Brother Green scratched onto the green fur on his head. "How about this? You go and ask her if the weather is good or not. If that doesn't work, continue to ask her. What kind of movies does she like to watch? Where does she like to travel to? What kind of food does she like to eat? How many people does she have at home? How many villas does she have? How many supercars does she have? How many mines does she have? Big Brother, look at the way she is dressed. She is definitely a rich person. Let's not ask about the rest. Let's just ask her if the food she ate today is good or not." Finished speaking, the little brother walked up to Zishan. Even if Big Brother Green wanted to pull Zishan, he wouldn't be able to do so, because Zishan didn't eat anything at all. "Zishan, is the fish we ate today delicious?" Little Brother Red really asked Zishan, causing Big Brother Green to hold onto his forehead. Zishan couldn't take it anymore and shouted out lightly, "Don't bother me." Little Brother Red was startled, and his expression gradually collapsed, seemingly as if he had received a huge injury. Chapter 291. Upon seeing this, Big Brother Green frowned. Originally, he was happy for his little brother, but this woman wasn't someone easy to deal with, and his little brother couldn't control her at all. Don't you know your little brother's personality? He was timid and kind-hearted. He wouldn't even dare to kill a chicken. He would blush whenever he saw a beautiful girl. No, he would blush whenever he saw someone of the opposite sex, let alone someone beautiful. This Zishan is beautiful, isn't she? She is a top-notch beauty. Now that she has smashed onto my little brother's head, how can I not be happy? Even in my dreams, I would be able to wake up with a smile on my face. Unfortunately, why would such a cold and arrogant woman like my little brother? My little brother is completely suppressed by his honor. Wei Chang and Tang Wei were squatting at the side, peeling the leaves of a vegetable. Seeing that little brother Red's expression wasn't right, then taking a look at Zishan, who was sitting on the sofa like a big boss, Wei Chang's expression sunk. This woman doesn't even realize what kind of situation she is in. Wiping his hands, Wei Chang stood up. "Uncle Wei, don't be angry," Tang Wei said with concern. "It has already been so many days, but the wolfberry tea that Uncle Wei drank is still not working. Seems like I have to go and look for a more powerful folk prescription." Wei Chang patted on Tang Wei's shoulder. "I am a respectable person. If I can move my mouth, then I will definitely not use my hands." Sitting on the sofa, Wei Chang asked faintly, "Zishan, what's wrong? Are you not satisfied?" Zishan coldly said, "None of you are good people." Hearing this, Wei Chang chuckled. "You deities are a good person again? In your eyes, humans are nothing more than ants. However, in the eyes of his honor, you deities are also nothing more than ants." Zishan did not say anything. After pausing for a moment, Wei Chang continued, "We did not tie you up. If you feel that this is a great humiliation, you can walk away now. If you are more than 10 meters away, you will be free within 10 steps. Zishan clenched her fists, and a struggling expression could be seen on her beautiful face. She had already tried it before, but when she took the first step, she felt a sharp pain in her heart. When she took the second step, she felt as if her entire body was about to split apart. She no longer dared to take the third step. For the sake of dignity, he could choose a painless death, but if he wanted to live, he had to live honestly. Between the two choices, which was more important, dignity or survival? Wei Chang leaned on the sofa and said, "You gods are all hypocrites. I'm used to it. You say that I killed a lot of people, But you just killed a lot too. Do you think that my little brother is not worthy of you? I'll be honest with you. My little brother can poke you to death with just one finger. Don't think that you're number one in the world. You haven't even come into contact with terrifying things. Zishan tightly creased her eyebrows. She listened attentively and pondered carefully. Wei Chang whispered, I know what you're thinking. Didn't you choose him because he's stupid? Do you really think he's stupid? He's just kind. Don't mistake honesty for foolishness. Also, don't think about going back, because your God has already decided your fate. Let me give you a piece of advice. Don't think about anything, it won't kill you. You can leave now, and only he can save you and protect you. I hope you treat him well. At least you won't be wronged if you follow him. After speaking, Wei Chang turned around and went back into the kitchen, chatting with Tang Wei with a smile on his face. Sure enough, different women get different treatment. Zishan slowly leaned onto the sofa, and a feeling of powerlessness emerged from her heart. Looking at the foolish little brother Red, is this really fate? Instead of serving a prince, he came down to serve a human. Seeing that Zishan was looking at him, little brother Red immediately shifted his gaze away, not daring to look straight at Zishan. This isn't because he's angry, this is because he's shy. Just a moment ago, he was still angry at little brother Red, but right now, with just a glance from little brother Red, he immediately stopped being angry. What a little puppy. Looking at his little brother's cowardly look, Big Brother Green knew that his little brother would become a henpecked husband in the future. At this moment, Yi Hua's side had also left the house. The family of four was still in that Audi A8. The two wives sat at the front, while Yi Hua and his daughter, who was dressed up beautifully, sat at the back. Daddy, fasten your seatbelt. Mommy, Aunt Qing, the two of you need to fasten your seatbelt. Ali will be supervising the two of you. Dong Huangli acted like a little adult the moment she got into the car, and began instructing the two of them. Yi Hua laughed, then silently took out a stick of cigarette. Dong Huangli could be seen snatching away her father's cigarette. Daddy, you can't smoke in the car, Aunt Qing is still pregnant, and Mommy and the others can't inhale secondhand smoke. Ali will pass the cigarette to Daddy after we get out of the car. I will keep it for you for now. Yi Hua laughed, and the two wives who were sitting in front of him laughed as well. Qingye laughed. Our family's Ali is still the best. After finished speaking, Qingye gave Ali a thumbs up, praising her. Dong Huangli, who was praised, became even more proud of herself. Yi Hua, listen to your daughter and smoke less. Dong Huang Baiji turned her head around and said with a smile. Yi Hua wrinkled his brows. You two only give me 3 sticks of cigarettes a day. How much less do you want me to smoke? Yi Hua, it is good for you to quit smoking as soon as possible. You are already preparing to have a child with Baiji, yet you are still smoking every single day. You need to quit drinking as well. Qingye urged. After I give birth to a child, I will definitely want another child. Right now, I need to change this bad habit of men. Dong Huangli followed along and said, Daddy, smoking is not good for your body. This time, you need to listen to Mommy and Aunt Qing. Alright, these 3 are attacking me together, making me unable to fight back at all. Take it slowly, Yi Hua said. This could be considered as a compromise. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji had a gratified smile on their faces. Yi Hua is still quite sensible. That's right, Qingye, that house that we bought, let's give it to Little Red as our wedding house. I don't want to move away from here. It is quite good to stay here, Yi Hua said. Back then, Qingye bought a villa and prepared to stay there. Right now, the villa was already renovated, but Qingye never went there. In actuality, Qingye didn't want to go there anymore. Although this bar was small, it had everything, and it was filled with a lot of memories. Qingye felt the same way too. In the beginning, she didn't want to stay here, and she even felt that this place was very dirty and messy. However, after such a long time, she really couldn't leave this place, because this place contained a lot of memories that she had with Yi Hua. All right. Qingye nodded her head. Yi Hua opened the window, allowing the wind to blow into the bar. Narrowing his eyes, he looked at the city. Although he had stayed in the city for 5 years, he wasn't familiar with the roads at all. Because he rarely went out, he basically stayed at home and watched cartoons. A huge billboard attracted Yi Hua's gaze. Isn't this Lai Gu's wife? Should I consider retrieving Lai Gu's corporeal body? Wei Chong lived in an ordinary neighborhood, and the house that he lived in was rented. Yi Hua was thinking whether or not I should buy a house for Wei Chong as well. However, if I keep asking Qingye for money, it seems like I have no face at all. However, the money that I won from the bet is all with her. Although I have already given out the money, and it would be embarrassing for me to take back the money, I should at least show some appreciation, right? Right now, Wei Chong, Tang Wei, and the others were already waiting respectfully downstairs. Qingye saw the unfamiliar Zishan with a single glance, then asked curiously, Yi Hua, that woman is Little Red's wife. That's right, she's still all right. Chapter 292. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji nodded their heads. This woman is indeed not bad, she is quite pretty, and her temperament is also quite good. On the other hand, little brother Red who was at the side seemed to be very astonished. Is that Uncle Red's wife? It's so beautiful. Dong Huangli also saw it, and she couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. However, when Yi Hua saw Zishan's attitude, his brows slightly wrinkled. I will spare your life. Don't be unable to differentiate good from bad. If this had happened in the past, you would have been turned into ashes long ago. This Supreme Overlord's little brother's little brother will also be a person who will be able to hold his own in the future. Grasping his own opportunity is the wisest choice. The few of them got off the car, and Wei Chong and Tang Wei immediately walked over to serve them. Donghuang Baiji opened up the car trunk, and golden light immediately shone from the trunk. A chest of gold. These were precisely sent over by Death Mage. To be more precise, they were sent over by Donghuang Baiji. After thinking about it, he felt that it was more practical to give her gold. Uncle Green, Uncle Red. Donghuang Li ran over to the two uncles. It has been a long time since I last met these two uncles, and their hairstyles have become even more handsome. Now that the Green and Red brothers know that Ali is his honor's child, they don't dare to recklessly hug Ali anymore. But Ali stretched out her arms, wanting to hug him. Yi Hua looked towards the Green and Red brothers, and told them that he would allow them to hug Ali. This could be considered as him acknowledging them. Uncle Red, is this auntie your wife? Donghuang Li asked while looking at Zishan. Little brother Red chuckled. That's right. Then, why are you two standing so far away from each other? Donghuang Li asked puzzledly. My daddy and mommy are always standing so close to each other, and every single time, they would kiss each other. Little brother Red said while stammering. This? Ali, Uncle Red is afraid of his wife, Big brother Green said with a smile. Donghuang Li nodded her head, and had a look of understanding on her face. Donghuang Baiji walked to the front of the Green and Red brothers while holding onto a chest of gold, then said tenderly, the two of you, thank you for protecting Ali all the way here. I never had the chance to thank you all the way here. Here is a small token of my appreciation, you must definitely accept it. The Green and Red brothers were startled. Big brother Green put Ali down and hurriedly said, Lady boss, you can't do that. It is our fortune to be able to meet Ali. I told you all to accept it, so just accept it. Yi Hua, who was sitting on the wheelchair, said faintly. Since his honor had already spoken, how would the Green and Red brothers dare to say anything else? Thank you, boss. Thank you, lady boss. The Green and Red brothers thanked Donghuang Li sincerely. If they didn't meet Donghuang Li back then, perhaps they would still be working in the village right now. It was precisely because they met Donghuang Li that their lives had undergone a tremendous change. In the past, they didn't even dare to think about it. Facts had proven that as long as one followed the right person, one's future would be bright. And finally, Zishan was able to see the two wives of his honor. Indeed, the two wives are exceptionally beautiful, and they are even a bit stronger than me. I didn't expect that there would be such beauties in the secular world. If those deities were to find out about this, they would definitely come down and snatch Zishan away. It is not convenient for Yi Hua to go upstairs. Let's go out to eat today and discuss about their marriage. Qingye said tenderly. Since your wife has spoken, who would dare to say no? Of course he agreed. For her husband to invite his underlings to a banquet, of course, he had to choose a good place. Long and City was a second-tier city, and there were not many high-class hotels. For example, the Ipin clubhouse that he used to go to was considered a relatively high-class place. Today, Chinya made a reservation at a place called Pinyuan Private Kitchen. The place wasn't considered to be luxurious, but it was said that the boss's culinary skills were superb. Of course, the price of the dishes was ridiculously expensive. For example, a plate of egg-fried rice cost 99 RMB, and there was even a limited amount of it that was sold every day. And this was the cheapest place that Chinya had heard from those uncles and aunties when she was buying breakfast. When they arrived at Pinyuan Private Kitchen, there was already a long queue outside the restaurant. Fortunately, Chinya had already made a reservation through the phone, and the boss was straightforward. Every boss would be straightforward towards beautiful women. Yihua looked at this ordinary-looking restaurant. Although there was a long queue outside the restaurant, he still asked, "Is it really that good?" "It shouldn't be bad, you can be at ease." Yihua naturally trusted his wife. Everyone directly walked into Pinyuan Private Kitchen, and the people that were queuing outside immediately became unhappy. Why? Don't you have any idea what's going on in your heart? Although the outside of the restaurant doesn't look like much, the interior decoration of the restaurant is not bad, and it is very high class. The group arrived at a private room on the second floor, and there was a big table that just happened to be able to seat 9 people. Zishan casually sat down. Little brother Red pursed his lips and did not sit beside Zishan, and was prepared to sit together with his big brother. "Come over," Zishan said lightly. Although Zishan's voice was soft, everyone that was sitting at the table heard it. Little brother Red went into a slight daze, not understanding what Zishan means. Why does she want me to go over? Is she going to hit me? But I can't win against her, so should I fight back later on? What if I injure her? Big brother Green said in a low voice. If she wants you to go over, then just go over. Little brother Red slowly walked to Zishan's side. Little brother Red's current appearance was that of a student walking to the back of a teacher, looking like he was prepared to listen to a lecture. "Sit," Zishan said faintly. Little brother Red became happy. Could it be that my wife has thought things through? Uncle Wei is still the best, to be able to convince her in just a few minutes. Seeing Zishan's attitude, Yihua was rather satisfied. Soon after, dishes were served onto the table. Just by looking at the appearance of the dishes, one could tell that they were not bad. At the very least, Yihua had the urge to stretch out his chopsticks. A chef who was wearing a white coat could be seen walking in slowly, then said to everyone with a smile, "Welcome to Pinyuan Private Kitchen. I am the chef cum boss of this place." This person's name was Peng Yuan. He was white and chubby, and when he smiled his eyes would disappear. Seeing that everyone was not speaking, Peng Yuan felt a bit awkward and began introducing his dishes. After all, the price of the dishes on this table was over 100,000, and there was no need to talk about the ingredients. All of them were top-notch because they were all given by the system. There's no need for introductions, we still have things to discuss. Yihua said faintly. This was the first time that Peng Yuan had encountered such a situation. This restaurant had been open for close to a week, and the customers that came to the restaurant were all curious. Especially when he was introducing the dishes, some of the customers even wanted him to introduce the ingredients used in the dishes. Looking at the few beauties, I will forget about it. There are so many dishes here, it would be a waste of my saliva to introduce them. After the boss left, Yihua began to move his chopsticks. After tasting the dishes, he felt that the dishes were indeed not bad, then nodded his head. "Everyone, let's eat." If the boss doesn't say to eat, how would the underlings dare to pick up their chopsticks? Chinya asked, "Zishan, do you have any requirements for the wedding? You can tell me about it now. I will go and arrange it when the time comes." Zishan placed down her chopsticks and said lightly, "Thank you, I don't have any requirements, I just want to keep everything simple." Chinya looked towards her man. Why does it feel like this Zishan is being forced to get married? "Alright, I will arrange for the best wedding services to be prepared for your wedding, you can be at ease," Chinya said. Little brother Red hurriedly thanked. "Thank you, Lady Boss, for your concern." Yihua nodded his head. "In the future, you will be a person with a family, pay attention to your behavior. Is His Honor talking about my hairstyle? This 50% hairstyle looks very handsome. In actuality, the behavior that Yi Hua said was to tell little brother Red not to be a coward and not to be afraid of her. I have already prepared a house for you too. Wei Chang's place isn't big, you two can move over there first. Yi Hua said. Chapter 293. Wei Chang, when the time comes, I will prepare a wedding house for you. Wei Chang and Tang Wei felt a burst of bashfulness. We haven't even done anything good, and yet we are already getting married. Boss, I'm already used to living here. If it's possible, can you help me buy it? Wei Chang smiled modestly. Some things, once you're used to it, you don't want to abandon it anymore. Yi Hua nodded his head. Sure, let your lady boss buy it for you. Wei Chang. Qingye rolled her eyes at Yi Hua, then said to Wei Chang with a smile, Wei Chang, you can stay here peacefully, I will help you buy a house. His Honor's wife is still the most reliable. His Honor really likes to swindle people. The dishes here are indeed not bad, I will come here more often in the future. Yi Hua said faintly, I decided that in the future, when I go out to eat, I will come to this restaurant. It is truly not bad. Qingye rolled her eyes at the man. Other people aren't even willing to receive you. Little brother Red could be seen taking care of Zishan with all of his heart and soul. Little brother Red was taking care of Zishan with all of his heart and soul. However, Zishan also felt that this dish was pretty good. I didn't expect that there would be such food in the secular world. After dinner, Yi Hua's family of 4 naturally went back home, and the others also went back home. The Green and Red brothers were planning to move house tomorrow, therefore, they were going to stay at Wei Chang's house for one last night. However, Tang Wei seemed to be very happy. I can finally be alone with Uncle Wei again. I must definitely cure Uncle Wei's illness, and then live happily ever after. Thinking about it, I still feel a little shy. In the car, Dong Huangli's stomach had become big from eating so much that she was currently lying on her father's bosom and sleeping. Yi Hua, why do I feel that Zishan isn't in a good mood? Qingye asked curiously. Her woman's intuition was telling her that Zishan wasn't in a good mood. Dong Huang Baiji nodded her head as well. And, it seems like there's something very heavy on her mind. Yi Hua lightly caressed onto his daughter's hair and said faintly, a woman who is about to get married will definitely be a bit nervous. The 2 girls stopped asking because they thought of the same question. Marriage? When is Yi Hua planning to hold his wedding? The group of people returned home, and Qingye took care of Yi Hua. Yi Hua knew that he was about to fully recover, and everything had been laid out properly. Now all that was left was for him to fully recover. At that time, little Baiji, you can't run away. At this moment, in a certain deep forest, clouds gradually gathered in the sky. Suddenly, lightning flashed, thunder roared, and strong winds blew. Boom, boom, boom. A thick tree was directly split by the lightning, and at this moment, 9 lightning bolts suddenly appeared in the sky, intertwining together. It emitted a dazzling white light. Suddenly, a white light flashed, and the world returned to normal. However, a figure appeared in the void. The man slowly opened his eyes. His black and white eyes seemed to be able to see through everything in the world. He was tall and handsome, with sword-like eyebrows and bright eyes. He wore a gorgeous robe and had an evil smile on his face. He muttered, "This demon emperor is finally back. Qingye, I won't let you die in vain in this lifetime, Long Outyan. You are not worthy of Qingye at all. You are a bastard. As for those debts that need to be settled, this demon emperor will come looking for you one by one." With that, the man disappeared into thin air as if he had never been there. In Wei Chang's rented house, tonight, Big Brother Green was sleeping on the sofa, while his little brother was in the bridal room, but who knows if he was sleeping on the floor or not. Big Brother Green was right. Little Brother Red was indeed sleeping on the floor, and furthermore, he was sleeping on the floor of his own accord. Zishan did not refuse and lied on the bed. Now that his magic power was sealed, even if he wanted to do something to him, he would not be able to resist. But if he really did that, I would have to run 10 steps away from him. But 2 months later, if I don't get pregnant, it would be hard for me to escape death. Yi Hua predicted that little brother Red would be in a disadvantageous position, so he used time to restrain them. His little brother wouldn't be anxious. The one who would be anxious would be Zishan. In the end, Zishan would be the one who pushed his little brother down. Of course, this was just Yi Hua's own deduction. However, looking at the current situation, little brother Red didn't dare to touch Zishan. In little brother Red's eyes, a wife like Zishan should be properly protected and cherished. Are you hungry? Little brother Red, who was lying on the bed, asked with concern. Zishan, who was lying on the bed, slightly opened her beautiful eyes and said faintly, I'm not hungry. Then are you thirsty? I will go and pour a cup of water for you. Little brother Red asked again. Zishan wrinkled her brows. I'm not thirsty. Little brother Red was a bit depressed. Is she rejecting me in a disguised way? Are you cold? I will turn up the air conditioner. Little brother Red was just trying to find a topic to chat about. However, a topic like this was truly very awkward. Which girl would like a topic like this, let alone Zishan, who was a deity? Zishan said gravely, Red, I will never fall in love with you. All of this was arranged by His Honor, and I am only passively accepting it. I have already thought it through. I will properly spend these 2 months with you. After hearing what Yi Hua said, little brother Red became very absent-minded. In the end, little brother Red hugged onto the blanket tightly and mumbled, I understand. Thinking about it, it makes sense. She is a high and mighty deity. How could she possibly like someone like me? Even if His Honor was suppressing her, she still wouldn't like me. Let's not think about those unrealistic things and go to sleep. Zishan's back was leaning against little brother Red, and she had already made a decision in her heart. She was going to live happily for these last 2 months, and then leave happily. It was a silent night. The next day, waves and waves of exclamations erupted throughout the entire South. First of all, Voidless Realm's Empress brought along a heroine and defeated a powerful enemy, saving the South's crisis. This piece of news instantly exploded in the South Cultivation World's forum, and all kinds of people were praising the Empress and that mysterious heroine, causing everyone to exclaim in admiration endlessly. Other than praising the Empress, the South Cultivation World's forum also began to condemn Ji family's actions. Look at how reasonable the North's big shots are. Meanwhile, on the North Cultivation World's forum, there were also different opinions. Some people felt that the Empress shouldn't have gotten involved, and should have just let the South be exterminated. Meanwhile, some people were praising the Empress's actions, and some people even said that the Empress should unify the North and South Cultivation World, and become the real Empress. This kind of suggestion actually had a lot of people praising it, and immediately, the North Cultivation World's forum burst into an uproar. However, this was just the first wave. The second wave was a mysterious person who posted a video. When the North and South Cultivation World's people saw the video, their expressions froze, and only after a long time did they manage to react. Even if the North and South were enemies, when they saw the video, they still felt pity for the North. This is too tragic. This Ji family is too vicious. Meanwhile, when the South Cultivation World's people saw the video, they felt a bit dizzy. These are all family heads. And for all of them to die in Ji family's hands, that means that the South is finished. The South's strength will most likely regress by several tens of years. Furthermore, these family heads suddenly died, and with that, there will definitely be another round of fighting within the family, resulting in another round of casualties. Chapter 294. In the bedroom on the second floor of the bar, Yi Hua was currently happily hugging onto his wife and sleeping, and his evil hands had already reached into Qingya's pajamas. Meanwhile, the face of Qingya, who was sleeping, was completely red. However, the curve on the corner of Qingya's mouth showed that she was happy. Yi Hua, Qingya, this is bad. Donghuang Baiji suddenly pushed open the door and entered the room. Yi Hua and Qingya slowly opened their eyes. Yi Hua said gravely, Baiji, as an empress, look at how you are acting. No matter how big the matter is, I will be there to help you. Ji family killed all the family heads in the south. Donghuang Baiji shouted out in shock. She was truly unable to remain calm in such a situation. She was simply a lunatic. Qinya immediately sat up, and her soft and beautiful curves could cause people to be mesmerized. How is this possible? Qinya also didn't believe that such a thing would happen. Yihua was very displeased. Looking at the situation, they want to interfere again. If that's the case, I'm going to hug air tonight. After the two women finished watching the video, they were shocked. Ji family is the cruel one. Qinya asked gravely. What is the current situation? Dong Huangbaiji's brows became tightly wrinkled as she said. The remaining powers in the south are currently gathering together, and it seems like Ying family doesn't have any plans to step forward. However, since Ji family did such a heinous thing, Voidless Realm cannot just watch with folded arms. Yihua asked faintly, May I ask, are the two heroines planning to leave the disabled and their daughter at home and not care about them again? The two women turned their heads around and looked towards Yihua with a guilty look on their faces. Dong Huangbaiji begged. Yihua, I have to go and deal with this matter. At most, it will only take a few days. Baiji definitely won't be able to handle everything by herself. I'll go and help her. Qinya was also someone who cared about the common people. And this was completely the effect of her bloodline. If Yihua were to find out about this, he would definitely regret the fact that he directed the movie, causing Qinya's bloodline to awaken, causing her to fall in love with being a hero. Seeing that his two wives were going to go out and be heroes again, Yihua was very displeased and said coldly, Go ahead, if I were to die at home, you two wouldn't even know. Left with no choice, the two wives could only act like a spoiled child. Sob, 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 the two women took one side each. Yihua, wait for us to come back, we promise that we will accompany you properly. You can do whatever you want. Dong Huangbaiji said tenderly. Qinya nodded her head. Yihua was moved and he asked gravely, Really? The two women hurriedly nodded. Hurry up and return then. Yihua said. As soon as he finished speaking, the two women disappeared. These two women. Only by locking them up will they be able to face themselves every day. After lying on the bed and thinking for a while, Yihua felt that it was time for Ying family to make a move. Although this Ji family has been exterminated, no one else knows about it. Right now, the general trend of events is unavoidable, and even Dong Huangbaiji has made a move. As the southern part of Ying family, it doesn't seem appropriate for Ying family to not make a move. Yihua immediately contacted Wei Chang and asked Sun Fang to notify Ying family to participate in this encirclement and annihilation operation. The moment the Ying family received the news, they immediately started to organize. The entire south and even the northern powers started to head towards the Ji family. To do such a heinous thing, it would incur the wrath of both men and gods. He didn't know that Ji clan had already been exterminated. Of course, it would still take a few days for them to organize such a large-scale operation. And Yihua reckoned that he would have to be lonely and unable to sleep for a few days. However, this was good as well. Yihua would be able to cultivate the father-daughter relationship with Ali, and he would be able to casually swindle Qin Yutong and Yi Zizi. On this day, the Green and Red brothers moved to a new house. When they saw the villa in front of them, they felt like they were dreaming. The two brothers suddenly gave each other a hug, and their dreams were finally realized. Zishan followed behind the two brothers, and when she saw the two brothers in front of her, they became so excited just because of a house. Sigh, to a deity like Zishan. A villa like this was really not pleasing to her eyes. However, to the Green and Red brothers, a villa like this was their dream. To be able to have a place of their own in a big city. Zishan, are you tired? Quickly go into the house and rest. Little brother Red said with concern. Although he knew that it was impossible for Zishan to stay in the house, he still felt that he had to properly take care of Zishan. Zishan shook her head. I'm not tired. Big brother Green held onto his little brother and said in a low voice. Let me tell you, don't ever show your enthusiasm. You need to know how to play hard to get. Big brother, that time when you played hard to get, that girl didn't seem to have contacted you again. Little brother Red felt that his big brother wasn't as smart as him when it came to relationships. Big brother Green felt very awkward as he explained. That time was a mistake. It was mainly because I, as a big brother, didn't lay the groundwork properly, and my feelings weren't on point. Big brother, you can be at ease. In actuality, I also know that there won't be any results between me and her. Big Brother Green's brows wrinkled. What? You are backing out just because of this? Little Brother Red nodded his head disappointedly, then said with a smile, Big Brother, you don't have to worry about me. But 2 months later, His Honor said that he wants you to do it yourself. Big Brother Green said solemnly, This isn't a joke. Little Brother Red remained silent. Big Brother Green let out a heavy sigh. I really don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. The decoration of the villa was high-end and classy. After all, Chinya had planned to live in the villa by herself in the past, so she definitely wouldn't treat me shabbily. The master bedroom was naturally for Little Brother, and Big Brother Green was staying in the second bedroom. Meanwhile, the second bedroom was originally reserved for Yihua by Chinya, but right now, there was no longer a need for it. Zishan followed closely behind Little Brother Red. Wherever Little Brother Red went, Zishan would follow. After all, the distance between the two of them could only be maintained at 10 meters. Yihua was quite attentive, giving the two of them an opportunity to chat. In actuality, there wasn't much to do in the villa. The Green and Red brothers didn't have anything to put on the villa, and Zishan didn't bring anything over either. However, they still had to change their clothes, right? Fortunately, the two brothers had exchanged for a gold brick, and right now they were a bit richer. However, the rest of the gold bricks were given to Wei Chang as a show of filial piety. This made Wei Chang happy. Zishan, how about going to the streets to buy a few sets of clothes? You still have to change your clothes. Right now Little Brother Red wasn't that shy anymore. This Zishan is also a pitiful person. There is no need for me to make things difficult for her. Zishan also knew that she didn't have any clothes, and right now, she had to rely on Little Brother Red for everything. All right. Big Brother Green turned on the television, then said with a smile, You two can go out on a date then. I am not fit to play with the two of you anymore. Little Brother Red's face became slightly red as he argued, Big Brother, I am accompanying Zishan to buy a change of clothes. And go buy clothes, don't forget to buy underwear. Fortunately, Big Brother reminded me, if not, I would have really forgotten to buy underwear. Zishan's brows became wrinkled. Underwear is definitely something that is close to one's body. This greenhead is actually so frivolous. Fortunately, I didn't choose him. After calling a taxi, the two headed towards the city. When the taxi driver saw the two of them getting on the taxi, he was very puzzled. After all, the woman was too beautiful, and the man seemed to be restless, as if he was doing something bad. Chapter 295. The majestic breeze outside the window lightly caressed Zishan's face. The current Zishan had lost the noble and dignified look that she had in the past, and she looked a bit weak. This was also the reason why old Sicheng misunderstood Zishan. Little Brother Red didn't say anything, and from time to time he would sneak a peek at Zishan. Why would Zishan go and offend his honor? How good would it be if she didn't offend his honor? At the same time, she wouldn't have to die, and she wouldn't have to be shoved to me to suffer. Miss, the old driver asked again. Zishan frowned and said coldly, Shut up. Could it be that this woman kidnapped this man? So fierce, forget it, forget it. Little Brother Red asked with concern. Zishan, are you all right? Zishan did not say anything. She propped up her chin and looked outside the window. Little Brother Red didn't continue asking. After arriving at the street, the two of them got off the car. Little Brother Red and Zishan immediately became the center of attention. In actuality, Little Brother Red's dressing was rather trendy, and the main thing was that his hairstyle had become a half-parted hairstyle. The one who attracted the most attention was Zishan. She was truly a beautiful big sister. Some guys couldn't help but want to flirt with her. A handsome young man could be seen running over with a warm smile on his face. He was holding something in his hand and asked Zishan, Big sister, I have something for you. Do you want it? Zishan raised her head and looked at Zishan, then said slowly, Get lost. The handsome guy was dumbfounded. You even dared to tease a deity? Are you truly tired of living? If not for Zishan having her powers sealed, this handsome guy would have already died. The young man ran away awkwardly. Little Brother Red laughed. In actuality, This was his first time accompanying a girl to go shopping, and he didn't know what they were going to do. On the other hand, Zishan followed behind Little Brother Red, and acted as if she would do whatever Little Brother Red said. Zishan, how about we go and take a look at this shop? Little Brother Red asked. Zishan lightly nodded her head. In actuality, in Zishan's heart, she didn't have a good impression of everyone. Although she didn't have a good impression of this little brother of hers, at the very least, he was a bit better than Wei Chong and Big Brother Green. You go ahead and choose, don't follow me. Little Brother Red said. Zishan said faintly, just help me choose. He was about to die, so he wasn't in the mood to choose clothes to wear. Handsome, your girlfriend is so beautiful. A waitress came up and greeted him enthusiastically. Little Brother Red laughed dryly, then said, help her get a few sets of clothes. No problem. Just hug me. You have a good figure. You look good in anything. The saleswoman also praised her ceaselessly. Of course, she was also envious. Afterward, Little Brother Red sat on the sofa and waited, while Zishan walked into the changing room to try on the dress. When Zishan walked out of the changing room, Little Brother Red couldn't help but be dumbfounded. All of the waiters in the store were stunned by Zishan's beauty. Right now, Zishan was wearing ladies' crop trousers, and paired with a capable lady's shirt. Zishan had tied her hair into a ponytail, and in an instant, she had turned into a city beauty. Just that, she was a cold and aloof type. Change to another set. Little Brother Red said. Zishan knitted her eyebrows, then walked back into the changing room. This time he wore casual clothes, tight jeans, and a t-shirt. Little Brother Hong's eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets. So Zishan's figure is actually this good, her legs are so long, her chest is also so good. Cough, cough, cough. Little Brother Red turned his head away, seemingly embarrassed to continue watching. Zishan sighed, then went back into the room to change. 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 After changing at least 20+ sets of clothes, Zishan finally couldn't bear it anymore and asked, how long are you going to keep changing? Little Brother Red's expression sunk. You didn't say that you are satisfied with them either. The waiters covered their mouths and laughed lightly. Wrap up all of the clothes that I tried on just now. Little Brother Red felt that all of the clothes looked good, and thus he bought all of them. The waiters cried out in surprise. This fellow's family definitely has a mine. After counting the money, due to the large amount of clothes, it would be even better if the store could give all of the clothes to me. Little Brother Red walked out of the door. Right now, Zishan was wearing a small skirt, and she looked very beautiful. That spotlessly white jade neck of hers made one have the urge to lick it. Zishan, do you still want to buy anything else? Little Brother Red asked. Zishan said, do as you see fit. Then, I'll go and buy a few sets of underwear for you then. Zishan's expression sunk. I didn't expect that this Little Brother Red would be so frivolous. After bringing Zishan to the underwear store, Little Brother Red waited outside. Little Brother Red didn't dare to enter the colorful pink world. Roughly 20 minutes later, Zishan came out with a shopping bag. Young miss, you still haven't paid. The lady boss chased after Zishan and shouted out. Little Brother Red hurriedly paid Zishan, then said, do you want to go and eat something? Anything. After arriving at the restaurant, Little Brother Red asked again, what kind of dishes do you want to eat? Anything. However, for all of Little Brother Red's questions, Zishan's answer was anything. Suddenly Little Brother Red asked, Zishan, do you want to eat shit? Anything. Little Brother Red. Zishan came back to her senses and stared at Little Brother Red with a cold expression, seemingly like she was asking, do you want to die? In actuality, Little Brother Red really wanted to laugh, but he endured it. Don't be angry. I was just trying to make you happy. After a while, Little Brother Red said embarrassedly. Zishan said coldly, you sure are happy. Little Brother Red knew that Zishan was angry, and thus, he continued eating silently. If there's a next time, I'll directly run away. Zishan said gravely. Although I'm a prisoner, if I'm forced into a corner, I'll also end my life. Little Brother Red's intention was good, but the question he asked was simply too weird. It's no wonder that Zishan has always been single. There's a reason for this. I understand. Little brother Red could only agree. After eating, the two returned home. Right now, Zishan only wanted to peacefully spend the remaining time in her life, and she didn't want to think about anything else. Little brother Red was still very concerned about Zishan. Taking care of Zishan is fine, I guess. Days passed by, and Yihua's group seemed to have sunk into a depressing atmosphere. Yihua slept alone for 3 days. If it was in the past, Yihua wouldn't feel anything, but right now he wasn't used to it. He wasn't used to it at all. These two women actually didn't return home for 3 days. The keyboard has already been prepared, and the first thing I'm going to do when I return home is to make them kneel on the keyboard. On the 3rd day, Voidless Realm and Ing family joined hands to break Ji family's seal. Countless people immediately rushed into Ji family's house and demanded Ji family to give an explanation. Furthermore, they wanted to convict Ji family of their crimes and lock them up for several hundred years. However, when they rushed into Ji family's house, they discovered that Ji family's house was completely empty. There wasn't a single person in the house. They definitely ran away. I came too late. Everyone searched for the family heads' corpses according to the video, and sure enough, all of the family heads' corpses were buried in a huge pit. This also meant that the video was real. Ji family's people didn't die a good death. There were still a lot of family members at the scene, and when they saw the corpses of their husbands or brothers, their mournful cries resounded throughout the world. From the looks of it, Yihua had done a good deed. After all, he had taken revenge for them. Chapter 296. In the beginning, when the two families met, Voidless Realm was extremely angry, and Voidless Realm nearly started fighting with Ing family. As for Donghuang Baiji, she endured it. Now is not the time to settle old scores. There will be plenty of time in the future. Everyone was once again subdued by the Empress's bearing. However, everyone could see that the Ing family was trying to curry favor with the Empress. This was especially so for the Ing family's patriarch, Ing Jingshan. Those who didn't know better would think that he was the Empress's servant. At this moment, the three of them were standing in the ruins of the Ji clan's main hall, looking around with a serious expression. Qingye's tone was filled with doubt. From the looks of it, Ji family doesn't seem to have left. Donghuang Baiji tightly wrinkled her brows, then nodded her head. And it seems like someone has been here. Ing Jingshan didn't know of Yihua's plan. The mission that he received was to come over and cooperate with the Empress, and he didn't know that Yihua had been here before. He squatted down and touched the black dust on the ground. These could be considered as bone ashes. Why were they black in color? That was because the godly might that Zishan released had burned them to such a state. It was as if an atomic bomb had exploded, turning them into charcoal in an instant. Ing Jingshan touched it and licked it. It tasted like caramel. It seemed like this elder had diabetes. Qingye took a look at the black marks on the ground. They were arranged in a very orderly manner, then said faintly, "I have a bold idea." And Donghuang Baiji responded, "Ji family should have been exterminated." Qingye said gravely. Ing Jingshan stood up and said gravely, "Indeed, these black figures should be Ji family's people. Furthermore, looking at the sequence of events, they should have been in the middle of some kind of meeting at that time, and were instantly killed by someone." Donghuang Baiji said gravely, "But who is capable of instantly exterminating Ji family? No matter what, he is still one of the 3 giants." Qingye pulled onto Donghuang Baiji's sleeve and said in a low voice, "Baiji, do you think that it might be? You are talking about that group of people?" Donghuang Baiji understood what Qingye meant. Right now, only that group of people is the biggest suspect. "Your Majesty, the 2 of you are still stepping on 2 corpses." Ing Jingshan smiled faintly, and his expression was very respectful. With the 2 madams present, how could he not be respectful? Qingye and Donghuang Baiji slightly shifted their footsteps. "Why are these 2 shadows here?" Ing Jingshan asked in confusion. Donghuang Baiji said gravely, "I'm afraid that this is Ji family's family head, Ji Zizhen. As for the other one, it might be either Ji Ji or Ji Teng." The 3 of them frowned. This wasn't a good thing. The Ji family was such a huge family, but it had been annihilated in an instant. If not for the fact that the house was broken, he would have thought that the entire Ji clan had escaped. You guys look over here. Qingye cried out in surprise and pointed at the place where Yi Hua was originally sitting. Dong Huangbaiji took a look at her surroundings. According to the arrangement of the seats, there should be people sitting around here as well. However, this place was completely clean, and there was no black figure at all. Jingshan walked to the surroundings and looked around. Suddenly he shouted, "I found something here." The two women walked over and saw a thin layer of black shadow. This was Ji, who had turned into human skin. "The chair is there." Qingye cried out in surprise. When Yi Hua left, he didn't wipe his but clean. To be more precise, his subordinates didn't arrange the crime scene properly. Jingshan moved the chair to this clean place, then sat on it and asked, "There might have been someone sitting here." No one dared to move, only Ji Zizhen, Ji, and Jiting dared to resist, and in the end they all died. Qingye and Dong Huangbaiji nodded their heads. Jingshan's deduction is indeed correct, but we don't have any direct evidence to prove it. "Don't move," Qingye suddenly shouted out. Jingshan immediately stiffened. "What is your wife trying to do?" Qingye could be seen squatting down. Then using her slender hand, she took out something from the crevice of the limestone. Dong Huangbaiji took a look. The two women asked confusedly, "This is cigarette ash?" Yi Hua was not far from dying. Jingshan said gravely, "It seems like this person is a smoker." After finished speaking, "I feel that something is amiss. It seems like every time I see His Honor smoking, and to instantly annihilate Ji family, other than His Honor, how many people would be able to do that?" Jingshan's expression suddenly changed. "His Honor didn't ask me to come here to cooperate with him. He asked me to come here to wipe his butt. I must not let the two madams find out about this. However, I have also provided countless clues to His Honor. I'm done for." Jingshan, did you recall something?" Dong Huangbaiji asked gravely. Jingshan's expression didn't look good, seemingly as if he had discovered something. "Nope, I smoke when I have nothing to do." Jingshan could be considered to be an experienced actor, and he reacted very quickly. Qingye and Dong Huangbaiji took a look at each other, and the first person that popped up in their mind was actually Yi Hua. It must be said that a woman's senses are too scary, especially for two such powerful women. Their intuition is even sharper. Could it be that the two of you didn't sense a trace of godly might? Jingshan said gravely. That serious look on his face made it seem as if he was saying a fact. In actuality, Jingshan was just trying to change the topic, but Jingshan's guess was right. A deity had indeed been here. Qingye asked in a low voice, "What does a deity smell like?" It's the smell that's coming from your body," Dong Huangbaiji said sneakily. "The smell that's coming from my body?" Qingye wrinkled her brows and took a sniff. "My body is rather fragrant." Dong Huangbaiji laughed lightly. "Qingye, it's the godly might that's coming from your bloodline that smell." Right now, only Qingye was able to try to sense the godly might, because only her bloodline could be considered to be pure. Jingshan was a bit flustered. "I didn't manage to comprehend His Honor's meaning. If something were to happen to me, the entire family would be done for, just like Ji family." "Baiji, there is indeed the smell of a deity." Qingye opened her beautiful eyes and said gravely. Jingshan was endlessly astonished, and Dong Huangbaiji was the same as well. Did a deity finally come? If that's the case, everything will be fine. Dong Huangbaiji said faintly. The deity discovered that Ji family was massacring the Ying family, and thus, the deity came over to mete out punishment. This seat might be the seat that the deity is sitting on. The two did not refute Dong Huangbaiji's words. It's been 1,000 years. The deity has appeared again. Jingshan tightly wrinkled his brows. The appearance of a deity is not a good thing. Dong Huangbaiji said confusedly, "Why didn't the deity appear back then when our two families were at war?" Perhaps that was a normal challenge, and Ji family had incurred the wrath of the deity. Jingshan explained. Qingye and Dong Huangbaiji silently nodded their heads. Thinking back to the video, it is possible that the deity appeared and exterminated Ji family. Qingye asked curiously, After exterminating Ji family, the deity left? Dong Huangbaiji and Ing Jingshan shook their heads, expressing that they didn't know. All of the people in the lobby have turned into black shadows, but where are the corpses of the other people? Qingye asked confusedly. At the very least, there are over 10,000 people in Ji family. Suddenly, sounds of discussions could be heard from outside the lobby. Chapter 297. Qingye and Dong Huangbaiji also flew into the sky, and Ing Jingshan followed behind them. Overlooking the entire Ji family from above, it was a completely different visual effect. The entire Ji family's building was full of holes, and there were caves everywhere. On the roof, walls, even the ground. It was so dense that it made one's whole body numb, like a pockmarked face. Qingye seemed to be not used to this kind of scene. After landing on the ground, Qingye stopped looking at the scene and began retching. Upon seeing that, Dong Huangbaiji immediately came over and held on to Qingye. What happened? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? It's a little disgusting. Dong Huangbaiji comforted Qingye, causing Qingye to feel much better. I feel that this matter isn't that simple, Qingye said faintly. Dong Huangbaiji also had the same feeling. I even have a feeling that this deity has been exterminated. Yeah, I keep feeling that we are surrounded by a conspiracy, Qingye muttered. Dong Huangbaiji did not refute this point, because she also had the same feeling. The news that the Ji family in the south had been exterminated by the deities soon spread across the entire cultivation world. The god who had disappeared for 1,000 years had actually appeared again. And as soon as he arrived, he destroyed the Ji family. It felt so good. This Ji clan deserved to die. It was good that the deities were destroyed. It was so satisfying. Yi Hua was praised by a hateful human, and it was unknown what kind of mood he was currently in. Right now, Yi Hua was currently listening to Wei Chang's report, and the more he listened, the more unhappy he became. I, the Supreme Overlord, do not need your praise. I, the Supreme Overlord, need your fear and panic. Your Honor, what about absolute heaven? Wei Chang asked puzzledly. If he wants to go to the north to gather information, then let him be. On the other hand, Yi Hua didn't mind. He was rather at ease with his subordinates. However, absolute heaven went to Purple Gold City. That place is very deep. It would be easy for him to expose his identity. Yi Hua laughed lightly. All right, Zhu Tian will be able to handle it. Also, his identity this time around is a bit interesting. Zijin University's Hypnosis Department professor. That's good then. This is absolute heaven's specialty. Wei Chang felt relieved. Yi Hua asked, what happened to that little red and Zishan? According to Little Green's report, the two of them were very respectful and nothing happened. Ask them to take the wedding photos tomorrow, and then prepare for the wedding in a few days. Zizi is about to go to school, so get everything done before that. Yi Hua felt that Yi Zizi would definitely cause trouble, and at that time, he would definitely have to take care of her. This was also the worry of a big boss. Luckily, the others were rather quiet, and Yi Hua was the only one who was worried about Yi Zizi. Understood. Find a time to add some fuel to the fire, just like how I did to Sun Fong last time. Sometimes pressure is needed. Right now, Yi Hua had quite a bit of experience in this aspect. If Leisure Bar were to close down, I might be able to open up a matchmaking agency. Even if the matchmaking agency is from a different race, humans and snakes are not just a dream. Yes. Your Honor, there is one more thing I want to report. Almost all of the southern family heads have already knelt down, and all of their family members are currently fighting for the position of family head. The most important thing is that Dry Zen Sect and Traceless Pavilion are missing. Right now, only Cloud Sect has sent out all of their disciples to seal demons in the secular world. There are also some loose cultivators that have joined in, but the number of people that have joined in is still not enough. Those demons and devils seem to know about this, and they have been appearing frequently these few days. Your Honor, what do you think of us? Yi Hua took out a stick of cigarette, looked at the city in front of him, and said faintly, I don't care about other things, but this long, and city is the place that I, the Overlord, am going to spend my vacation. Yes. Subordinate understands. Recently Long and City was not very peaceful. Cloud Sect was originally located at the border of Long and City, but because a lot of their disciples were sent out to seal demons, the place in Long and City became vacant. Wei Chong planned to cancel Death Mage and Sun Fang's honeymoon. The Green and Red brothers were definitely going to make a move as well. After all, Long and City was so big. After cutting off the connection with Wei Chong, Yihua slowly stood up and raised his walking stick. Right now he was acting as a disabled person who was in his recovery period. Daddy, quickly come and look at the news. Dong Huangli could be seen being dressed up by Qing Yutong. Dong Huangli was already so beautiful when she was young. Just how beautiful would she be when she grows up? As expected of the descendant of someone with super strong genes. Yihua asked faintly, "What's wrong?" "Daddy, quickly come and look at the news. You will know after you look at it." Dong Huangli pulled her father into her office, and right now, the news of Long and City was currently being broadcasted on the television. According to the news of this station, a large number of dead fishes appeared on the surface of Huajiang today, and the scene was very shocking. The following is the scene of the scene. Yihua looked at the Huajiang that was being broadcasted on the television. In actuality, Huajiang was just a few streets away from Huajiang, and Qingya had gone out for a walk at night before. "Daddy, the fishes are so pitiful." Dong Huangli pulled onto the corner of her father's clothes and looked at her father pitifully. Yihua rubbed onto his daughter's head and said faintly, "Ali, all living things will die one day. Some will die a worthy death, while some will be slaughtered by others." Then were all of the fishes slaughtered by others? Dong Huangli couldn't help but ask. Yihua nodded his head. All of the fishes' souls were sucked dry. Don't look at how little the fishes' souls are. With such a large amount of fishes' souls, there were still quite a lot of souls. Dong Huangli could be seen snorting. "Ali wants to go and beat up bad guys." Yihua immediately held on to his forehead. "Why do all of my women like to go and beat up bad guys? Can't I go and beat up good guys? Ali is still young right now. She can't go and beat up bad guys." Yihua guided attentively. Dong Huangli pouted her small mouth and said indignantly, "But Ali is just angry. These fishes don't even have any aggressive nature. Why are there people bullying them? Ali, don't be angry. Daddy will go and teach the bad guys a lesson, alright?" Yihua didn't have any other choice. "I can't let my daughter go and become a hero too. If that happens from now on, I will be the only one left in the house, and the 3 women will have to go and become heroes outside." Dong Huangli pouted her small mouth and said, "Alright then. Ali will hide her strength first. When Daddy is no longer able to handle the situation, Ali will then go and fight. This little fellow is still hiding her strength." Yihua pinched onto his daughter's cheeks. "I'll just leave this matter to Wei Chong. After all, a mere demon isn't enough for me to take action." "Daddy, recently, Ali found a good cartoon," Dong Huangli said quietly. Yihua carried his daughter into his embrace and asked curiously, "What cartoon is it?" "Popeye, is it good?" Yihua asked curiously. "It's good. Ali has already watched 2 episodes of it. Hurry up and show it to Daddy." And, just like what Qingya had imagined back then, her husband was watching cartoons together with their child, and the way he was watching the cartoons with great interest. However, as his wife, Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji were currently in charge of the wedding, and they would only be able to return in a few days. Yihua had already prepared a box of keyboards. "If you have the capabilities, then don't come back." Wei Chong arranged all of the orders that His Honor gave to his subordinates. This kind of small matter would naturally be left to his subordinates to do. Right now, I still have to continue looking for strategies on how to push down little Tang. She is going to start school soon, and at that time, the chances of us meeting each other will be even lesser. At a certain parking lot in Long and City, 2 kinds of sounds were currently coming out from a small QQ car. Biu cool 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 clap clap clap. Chapter 298. They were precisely Death Mage and Sun Fang. It wasn't easy for them to not bother about Ing family, and the 2 went to the South Pole to have their honeymoon. But after a few days, they were suddenly called back. "Can you lower your voice? I can't hear you," Sun Fang shouted out coquettishly. You keep saying bu all day long, and you don't even know how to ask his honor for a body. Death Mage turned his volume to the maximum. GGG, Imperial Translation. I like big. This infuriated Sun Fong, and she began to attack. The small QQ car began to shake violently, and it even made a squeaking sound, which was particularly pleasing to the ear in the empty underground parking lot. After a long time, the two of them got out of the car. Sun Fong said angrily, "If you don't go get a body, don't touch me in the future." GGG, Royal Translation. You're saying that I touched you? Shameless. Just from his tone, Sun Fong could tell that he was a stubborn person. Sun Fong snorted. Let's see who can endure loneliness. The Death Mage had been patient for over 1,000 years. In terms of determination, the Death Mage was undeniably the strongest. Sun Fong looked at her phone. I don't look ugly. Why aren't there any fans following me? Sun Fong was very distressed when she saw that she didn't have 2 digits of fans. GGG. Royal Translation. You want to gain more fans with that brain of yours? It would be good if it didn't drop. Sun Fong glared at him. Are you bad-mouthing me again? Death Mage turned his head around and looked to the side, as if saying that he didn't say anything earlier. I want to shoot a video. Help me do it well. If the number of fans doesn't break 2 digits, you can ask for this body. I've had enough of being a widow. Sun Fong snorted. Other people's girlfriends were all living blissful lives, but she had a boyfriend that she couldn't touch. Don't worry, there's still Tangwei with you. Good friends play together. If Death Mage had eyes, he would definitely have a look of disdain on his face. I'm not going to look for his honor to ask for my body. He pointed his phone at Sun Fong. Sun Fong smiled sweetly, and her beautiful eyes curved into crescent moons. She shook her little fists and even played with her hair. After shooting, Sun Fong immediately took it to see the effect, and was very satisfied. Is it beautiful? Sun Fong asked curiously. GGG. Royal Translation. The ugliest in history, but I like ugly people. After adding the background music, Sun Fong posted the video. Damn skeleton, you better get a body for me. Otherwise you're finished. I won't top up your money. Death Mage spread out his hands, indicating that it doesn't matter. In any case, I am not the one who is anxious. Seeing Death Mage's attitude, Sun Fong became angry. Throwing her handbag onto Death Mage's bosom, Sun Fong walked forward angrily. Kiki. This was not the voice that Death Mage let out. A man with a ferocious face walked out from the corner. There was blood at the corner of his mouth. It was obvious that he had been possessed by a monster. A woman and a skeleton. What's the relationship between you two? The man arched his body and raised his ferocious face. Sun Fong shouted. It has nothing to do with you. According to his honor's order, I will send you to the Western Paradise. With a flash of silver light, the man's head rolled down to Death Mage's feet. This mage likes such simple and rough women. Your strength is not bad. Unfortunately, this is not my real body. You guys can take your time to find it, haha. The head laughed arrogantly, and it sounded very strange in the empty parking lot. Death Mage raised his leg. Bang. The watermelon exploded. Kakik. Imperial Translation. Ignorant demon, to actually disturb his honor's vacation. You are truly reckless. Death Mage hugged onto Sun Fong's waist, and prepared to drive away. Don't touch me. I said that I won't let you touch me. You can't make me go back on my words. Death Mage straightforwardly carried Sun Fong on his shoulder. What a dishonest woman. Right now at the shore of Huajiang, 2 figures were walking on the sidewalk. One was walking in front of the other, and the distance between them was always maintained within 5 meters. They were precisely Little Red and Zishan. In actuality, this atmosphere was very similar to a date. Zishan, who was walking at the back, was looking at Huajiang. The cool breeze was blowing onto her beautiful hair, and her slender fingers were twirling her beautiful hair. Little Brother Red stopped his footsteps and looked at Zishan, who was behind him, with a peculiar gaze. Suddenly, I don't want Zishan to be my wife anymore, because with my current appearance, I am not worthy of her. Are you tired from walking? Little Brother Red asked concernedly. Zishan shook her head. How about we go back then? You don't want to catch demons anymore? Zishan asked lightly. Little brother Red remained silent. Zishan said faintly, catching demons is also part of my duty. Let's go downstream and take a look. This was the first time that little brother Red heard Zishan say such a long sentence, and he was very happy. The two walked towards the downstream of Huajiang. There was a patch of reeds here, and of course, there were also mosquitoes here. Little brother Red naturally wouldn't let Zishan get bitten by the mosquitoes. Zishan didn't say anything, and the two walked towards the depths of the reeds. Shoo! Little brother Red suddenly stopped and signaled Zishan to not make any sound, because he sensed an aura ahead of him. The mission that Uncle Wei gave me today was to get rid of the demon that was sucking the fish essence. If I'm not wrong, that person should be the person who is not far away from us. Right now, the surface of the river was completely red, and a bloody aura was gathering on the man's hands. Countless fishes were floating on the surface of the river, and the scene was very frightening. After confirming the target, little brother Red said to Zishan, who was behind him in a low voice, "Don't get too far away from me." Zishan nodded her head. Right now she was just an ordinary person, just that she had a lot of experience. Little brother Red could be heard walking out of the reeds and shouting out loudly, "Stop!" The man slowly turned his head around and took a look at little brother Red, then continued sucking the fish essence, completely ignoring little brother Red. Little brother Red wrinkled his brows. This person is very arrogant. Little brother Red picked up a stone and threw it towards the man. The man grabbed onto the stone and said gravely, "If you leave now, I will spare your life. Under his honor's order, I will take your life today." In the past, little brother Red had always been following his big brother around, and he was the kind of person who would listen to whatever his big brother said. Wei Chong could tell that little brother Red was different, and thus he separated the two of them. Little brother Red needed to be trained, and he still needed to help his honor expand his territory in the future. The man finally looked straight at little brother Red, and a faint smell of blood emitted out from his body. "You are very courageous, but you shouldn't act cool in front of me." "Sorry, I don't know how to act cool." Little brother Red was a bit nervous. After all, this was the first time he was facing an enemy, and his big brother wasn't around. The man laughed lightly, very pretentious. "How about you follow me?" "Where did you come from?" Little brother Red asked curiously. He felt that little brother Red was talking about his daily life. The man said gravely, "I am from hell." "Where are you from?" Little brother Red patted on his chest and shouted out, "I am from Dongming village." The corner of the man's mouth twitched. This person sure knows how to act cool. Little brother Red wasn't an idiot. Just a moment ago, he was just trying to get information from the man. Hell, why haven't I heard of this city before? Could it be that he is from another country? "Brat, I am in a good mood today, move aside. I won't kill you today." Chapter 299. Zishan, who was hiding within the reeds, heard little brother Red's words. I didn't expect that this little man would have such a side to him. In Zishan's eyes, little brother Red was that kind of man, that kind of weak man, who would get nervous whenever he saw her, just like a child who had yet to grow up. However, this man would only act like this in front of the person he likes. If he didn't like her, he would be so mature that he could even be her father. Looking at little brother Red, who was in front of him, the man's gaze became cold. "I never kill a nameless person. What is your name?" Little brother Red's gaze gradually became firm as he said gravely, "I am Yi Hong. I am Fiend King. I went to hell. Remember to report my name. If you know that I was the one who killed you, those brats won't make things difficult for you." Fiend King laughed loudly. Yi Hong swallowed his saliva, then shouted out, "All right. I won't bully you. I will let you punch me first." Zishan, who was hiding within the reeds, felt helpless. "You are giving way to the enemy, but why would the enemy give way to you? You are truly stupid." Fiend King seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world as he laughed loudly, laughing at my ignorance. "To actually let me punch you first. How could you possibly withstand a punch from me? A punch from me is able to split open a mountain. A punch from me is able to send you flying into outer space. Brat, I have lived for a few hundred years, but I have never seen someone who can act cool like you. Fiend King stopped laughing, and his gaze became cold. Although what little brother Red said was laughable, it was also disrespectful to me. Zishan also felt the same way. I have lived for 1,000 years, but I have never seen someone who can act cool like you. Yihong said seriously. I am not acting cool, I don't even know how to act cool. Fiend King, Zishan. What Yihong said was the truth. Why would I know how to act cool? When I act cool, I am even more awesome than my big brother. Fiend King frowned. Since you are going to let me punch you first, I will let you see. What is called a punch? Yihong was just being honest, he wasn't stupid, he was clear about his own strength, if not, he wouldn't have said such words. As for why he let Fiend King punch him first, it was because he didn't want to feel guilty. At least, if Fiend King punched him, he would be able to fight back. Zishan, who was hiding within the reeds, scolded Yihong for being stupid. I have never seen such a stupid man before. Fiend King shouted. Power of the ghost god. A red light appeared on Fiend King's body, and the muscles on his body increased by a few notches. His veins were thick and long. Ghost energy. Fiend King shouted once again. His thick muscles gradually shrunk, but this was not a reduction in strength, but a compression of strength. The ground started to tremble slightly. The ground beneath Fiend King's feet could no longer support itself, and started to collapse. A huge spiritual pressure spread out from Fiend King's body, causing the reeds to be blown away. At the same time, Zishan's beautiful figure appeared in front of Fiend King. What a beautiful woman! I'll kill this man later and snatch this woman. How could Zishan, whose cultivation had been sealed, withstand such spiritual pressure? Blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. Yihong cursed at herself for being stupid, and immediately stood in front of Zishan, withstanding all of the pressure, allowing Zishan, who was behind her, to feel a bit more comfortable. Zishan knitted her brows and looked at Yihong, who was in front of her. Ghostly fist. Fiend King didn't care too much, he gathered all of his spiritual power at one point, and a majestic aura immediately erupted out. A huge ghost actually appeared behind Fiend King, and the ghost seemed like it was going to devour the two people in front of it. Zishan let out a light sigh. If I die, then I die. Boom. A huge sound suddenly erupted, just like the rumbling of thunder. The fist solidly landed onto Yihong's chest. Immediately, dust flew all about, the ground caved in, and cracks appeared on the ground. In an instant, all of the reeds were uprooted from the ground. Fiend King let out a breath. If this fist of mine were to land, even the Emperor would have a hole punched through his body. It's my turn now, right? Yihong patted onto his chest and said. Fiend King's brows wrinkled. Looking at Yihong, who didn't move in the slightest, he mumbled. Just who are you? I am just a foolish fellow that came from Dongming village. It is my honor to be recognized by your honor, and also. Yihong didn't continue speaking. Zishan, who was behind Yihong, finally knew. So that Wei Cheng didn't lie. He is indeed very powerful. Impossible. You are definitely the Ghost King from hell. Are you here to capture me? I won't go back. After finished speaking, Fiend King flew towards the horizon. If I don't run now, when will I ever run? Yihong still didn't have much combat experience. Seeing that Fiend King was running away, Yihong immediately flew towards the horizon and chased after Fiend King. Ah! A painful and tender cry rang out. Yihong, who was flying in the sky, scolded himself for being an idiot, then immediately landed beside Zishan. Are you all right? Just now, the distance between the two of them was at least 20 meters. And this distance was already the furthest distance that Zishan could endure. Puffed! Zishan sprayed out a mouthful of blood, and her face instantly became pale, and her delicate body slowly fell onto the ground. Yihong hurriedly held onto Zishan. Yihong didn't know what to do. Zishan, what happened to you? Back then, when Zishan was testing the waters, she felt that her body was going to explode when she took a step further than 10 meters. Just now, she had gone further than 10 meters. From this, it could be seen how serious the consequences would be. Blood unceasingly flowed out from the corner of Zishan's mouth, and her delicate body gradually became ice cold. Yihong was already scared silly by the situation in front of her. I'll bring you to see his honor. His honor definitely has a way. Don't. Zishan pulled onto Yihong's wrist. Yihong sat on the ground, and Zishan was lying on his embrace. Blood unceasingly flowed out from the corner of Zishan's mouth. Zishan could feel that all of her internal organs had dried up, and some of them had even ruptured, and there was no hope left for Zishan. In fact, this was also good. Lying on Yihong's embrace, Zishan looked at the stars in the sky with her beautiful eyes. The secular world's night sky sure is beautiful. I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose just now. Yihong wiped off the blood that flowed out from the corner of Zishan's mouth in a flurry, but no matter how he wiped, he was unable to wipe off the blood. Yihong kept on saying that he was sorry. Why did I act so impulsively just now? I didn't think about Zishan. The distance between me and Zishan is going to take away Zishan's life. Yihong, this isn't your fault, you have freed me. Zishan seemed to have regained her last radiance. Her gaze became much clearer, and the corner of her mouth seemed to have an arc of freedom. Tears of regret flowed out from the corner of Yihong's eyes, and his lips slightly trembled. I hate myself. Why am I so stupid? Zishan could be heard mumbling. Death didn't have anything to do with me in the past, and now that I think about the things that happened in the past, death doesn't seem to be that important anymore. Vanity, power, wealth, these were all things that I pursued in the past, but now hee. After finished speaking, an aura of death enveloped Zishan's body. Yihong didn't want Zishan to die, but right now he didn't have any way to save Zishan. Zishan slowly stretched out her hand and lightly wiped off Yihong's tears, then said calmly, "You are much better than all of them. I didn't choose the wrong person. In the future, you will definitely be able to find a woman that is better than me." In actuality, Yihong really wanted to say, "I don't want to find another woman. I only want to find you, that's all." However, no matter what, he wasn't able to say those words out loud. Zishan, who was looking at the night sky, slowly spat out her last sentence. So beautiful. Zishan's beautiful face slowly drooped down, and Yihong hurriedly held on to Zishan. Zishan's face was slightly trembling, and Yihong tightly hugged onto Zishan's body. Yihong hugged onto Zishan's ice-cold body, and let out a deep howl of grief. Although Zishan doesn't like me, I like her. Ah. Chapter 300. Yihua's brows immediately wrinkled. Wei Chong had also sensed it. Big Brother Green had also sensed it. Basically, all of the cultivators in Long and City had sensed a terrifying aura hovering in the sky. Yi Zizi and Qing Yutong were currently playing games. Yi Zizi sighed softly. Qing Yutong asked curiously, "Zizi, why are you sighing? What is love? Falling in love with someone you shouldn't like." Yi Zizi shook her head. This was probably the saddest thing in the world. Qing Yutong rolled her eyes at Yi Zizi, then looked towards the distant place where thunder and lightning were rumbling. This is indeed a man who is infatuated with love. Fuck, this baby also looks good. Why aren't there any infatuated men howling at me? I, Qing Yutong, am unconvinced. Sun Fong, who was driving the QQ car, stopped by the roadside. The two of them got off the car and looked towards the place where the clouds were densely packed not far away from them. Death Mage took out a cigar, but the cigar was snatched away by Sun Fong. "Can you stop smoking at such a sad time?" Sun Fong said in a deep voice. Death Mage spread out his hands. "I didn't expect that the little brother that my master had just accepted would be so strong. He actually managed to make a breakthrough at this moment." "Skeleton, what will you do if I die?" Sun Fong suddenly asked. Death Mage slightly went into a daze, then stretched out his hand and hugged Sun Fong into his embrace. "I will never let something like this happen in my entire life." Yihua opened the window, then lit up a cigarette and looked into the distance. Zishan actually died. Why did she suddenly die? For Lil Red to actually let out such a wail, it seemed that something had happened to it. However, this was also good. Right now, Lai Gu was lying beside the swimming pool and mumbled, "Sigh, what a pity." The escaping Fiend King turned around and looked at the layers of dark clouds. He was confused. What was going on? "I've already punched you once, so there's no need for you to be so angry." At the venue, Yihong carried Zishan, and her gaze was filled with killing intent. In an instant, he disappeared from his original spot. Fiend King was still running for his life. That aura just now was too terrifying. He didn't expect that an ordinary person could actually have such a powerful strength. He no longer dared to look back and flew towards the horizon. What is that black dot? Fiend King was confused. As he got closer, Fiend King hurriedly pulled the handbrake. Yihang, who was carrying Zishan, appeared in front of Fiend King. Right now, Yihang's entire body was emitting out a black aura, and his pair of eyes were even darker black. His expression was so calm that it was a little scary. Most probably, even Big Brother Green had never seen this version of Little Brother Red before. What do you want to do? The Fiend King asked in a deep voice. That beauty was still alive just a moment ago. How did she die in the blink of an eye? Why did you run? Yihang asked calmly. If he didn't run away and let me punch him, Zishan wouldn't have died. However, it was because he ran away. For the sake of chasing after him, Zishan died. Big brother, you are stronger than me. If I don't run, should I just wait to be killed by you? The Fiend King had a look of shouldn't I run? Am I supposed to just stand there and let you kill me? Yihang placed Zishan's corpse in the air and stared at Fiend King. You must take responsibility for her death. Big brother, I didn't even touch her. Why should I take responsibility? You are being unreasonable. The Fiend King wanted to cry but had no tears. He had lived for hundreds of years, and this was the first time he had encountered such a thing. Yihang shouted angrily. I'm being unreasonable. As he spoke, he sent out a punch. The speed of this punch was so fast that Fiend King did not even have time to react. His entire body was sent flying like a cannonball, smashing into the ground, creating a huge crater. Boom, boom, boom. Zishan's body was lightly floating in the air, and on her face was a smile of relief. However, below her body, rumbling sounds could be heard, and mountains were collapsing one after another. Right now, Fiend King had long been beaten to death by Yihang. If he didn't run away, nothing would have happened. Little brother. In actuality, Big Brother Green had been here for a long time, but he didn't stop his little brother from venting his anger. However, right now he still couldn't help but shout out. Fiend King, who was below Yihang, was only left with skin and flesh. This scapegoat was too undeserved. Yihang turned his head around and looked towards his big brother, then shouted out hoarsely, Big brother. Big Brother Green let out a light sigh, then pulled his little brother up. Yihang immediately hugged onto his big brother and cried out loudly, Big brother, I caused Zishan's death. Big Brother Green patted onto his little brother's back and consoled. Big brother understands, but you definitely didn't do it on purpose. Big brother, I was careless. I have to take full responsibility for Zishan's death. Big brother, you should call the police. Big Brother Green. Is the detention center even able to imprison someone like you who can fly up and down freely? Big brother knows that you like her, but the dead cannot be brought back to life. My condolences. Big Brother Green patted onto his little brother's shoulder. This is truly fate making fools of people. I heard that His Honor is going to let them take their wedding photos tomorrow. And in a few days' time, they're going to get married. Yihang said gravely. Big brother, now I finally understand why the male lead in the television would be so sad. My heart is in so much pain. Little brother, back then Big Brother was cuckolded. My heart was in so much pain as well. However, life still has to continue. The earth won't stop for a single second just because you are sad. Big Brother Green used a self-mocking method to console his little brother. Big brother, I feel that His Honor definitely has a way. Let's go and beg His Honor. Right now, all of Yihang's hopes were placed on His Honor. Big Brother Green said gravely, Yihang, calm down a bit. Have you forgotten who was the one who set down those restrictions? Even if she doesn't die now, 2 months later, you will still have to kill her with your own hands. If that's the case, I would rather die in her place. You are fucking crazy. Big Brother Green shouted out angrily. Big brother, I am already 25 years old, and I have never had a girlfriend before. Although she doesn't like me, I am willing to sacrifice myself for her. Yihang looked at her big brother and shouted out. It wasn't easy to like someone, and it was even more difficult to silently sacrifice oneself for someone. Looking at his little brother's determined attitude, Big Brother Green was actually speechless. Immediately he raised his hand, wanting to slap his little brother awake. Stop dreaming. What can you get by sacrificing yourself like this? Will she even shed a single tear for you? Yihong didn't cower. She looked at her big brother who raised his hand. Gradually, Big Brother Green lowered his hand. You are already a grown-up. I can't control you anymore. Big brother, can you accompany me to look for his honor? Towards his little brother's request, Big Brother Green nodded his head in the end. Youngsters, for the sake of love, their brains will burn. In actuality, Wei Chong had already appeared beside Zishan's corpse. A man cried for you, killed for you, and even saved you at all costs. As a deity, do you feel touched? Wei Chong asked faintly. Zishan's primordial spirit could be seen gradually appearing in the air. Zishan's primordial spirit was very weak, and it seemed like it would disappear at any moment. Zishan had seen everything that happened just now, and she didn't expect that Yihong would act like this. If she said that she wasn't touched, it would be a bit fake. Even as a deity, Zishan had also fantasized about being protected by the man she loved. However, Zishan had never tasted this kind of feeling before. Chapter 301. Among the gods, men were high and mighty, especially men with power and influence. Women were their foil. Not to mention 3,000 beauties, there were even several hundred people in the harem of the princes. If they had to take turns, a woman could only enjoy sex once a year. If she suddenly died one day, the princes might not even remember her name. Apart from those who were favored, for example, even if he was favored, he would still be envied. Compared to that prince, Yihong might be lacking a lot, but he also had his outstanding points. Tonight, Yihong had taught himself a lesson. Perhaps people really couldn't be judged by their appearances. Have you thought about it? Wei Chong asked. Think about what? 2 more months. Zishan did not say anything. Initially, she had thought that it would be good for her to free herself from these people, so that she would not be threatened by these people. But when she saw how sad Yihong was just now, she wanted to comfort him. She really wasn't worth it. Wei Chong smiled and said, You've never been in love before, right? Zishan. In the past, I have never talked about it before, and his honor is the same as well. However, only after talking about it did I know that the feeling of wanting to treat the other party well, and live together with her properly is truly a very good feeling. I feel that his honor is very generous towards his subordinates, and love is very sweet. His honor is willing to share this sweetness with his subordinates, but do you think that your deities will share it with you? Yi Hua, who was currently smoking beside the windowsill, choked on the smoke. I, the Supreme Overlord, just wanted to forget it. I, the Supreme Overlord, just wanted to share the taste of love with my subordinates. Seeing that Zishan didn't say anything, Wei Chong continued. This little red's family condition isn't very good. He doesn't have any education, and he doesn't know how to speak. When he was young, he had been hanging out with Big Brother. Although the two of them aren't blood-related brothers, they are closer than blood-related brothers. Actually, the reason why I said so much is because I want you to understand one thing. For a man to be willing to sacrifice himself for you, it really isn't easy. You have 2 choices right now. 1. With her primordial spirit dissipating, Little Red would naturally slowly accept this reality. Of course, she would also live in guilt. 2. Live on, perhaps for 2 months, perhaps for the rest of your life. It's up to you. Looking at Yihong, who was emotional, Zishan remained silent. After a long time, Zishan slowly said, Alright, I know what you mean. Zishan's expression sank. I haven't even said anything, and you already know what I am going to say. Who are you trying to fool? But it was good that he didn't say it out loud. It's a common problem for gods to want to save face. Then I'll help you again. Wei Chong smiled and shook his head. Zishan pouted coquettishly and said, Who wants face? At this moment, the green and red brothers were flying towards them. Both of them saw Wei Chong. Yihong immediately knelt in front of Wei Chong and begged, Uncle Wei, can you save Zishan? Zishan, who was standing beside Wei Chang, had a complicated expression on her pretty face. Why are you doing this? I can't save her, Wei Chang said lightly. Yihang suddenly felt powerless. Even Uncle Wei couldn't do anything? But you can save her. Wei Chang's words immediately pulled Yihang from hell to heaven. Even Zishan, who was in her nascent divinity form, was shocked. Knowing that there was a chance to save Zishan, Yihang became very excited. Uncle Wei, what should I do? Wei Chang lightly said. That depends on how much you are willing to pay. Wei Chang thought to himself. So this is how it feels to do this kind of thing. No wonder His Honor likes it so much. This is indeed very interesting. His Honor had successfully led Wei Chang astray. No matter what, I am willing to pay. Yihang said firmly. Big Brother Green let out a sigh. First love has this kind of magical power. Youngsters are completely unable to resist this kind of attack. To save her, you might lose half of your life force. Are you still willing to do it? Wei Chang asked gravely. Yihang's face became joyful. Only half? Can I give her a bit more? I want her to live a bit longer. What simple words. Want her to live a bit longer. Wei Chang let out a sigh. Seems like I spoke too lightly. If I had known earlier, I would have been more vicious. His Honor has done well. I have to learn more from him in the future. Hearing Yihang's words, Zishan smiled. Want me to live a bit longer? I have already lived for too long. But this sentence sounds so simple and honest. What a fool. Little Red, you have to know one thing. Even if you save her, she might not appreciate your kindness. Wei Chang said faintly with his hands behind his back, seemingly imitating His Honor. Zishan, who was at the side, glared ferociously at Wei Chang. I am not as cold-blooded as you. Yihang naturally knew, but she still didn't hesitate. Uncle Wei, I know that Zishan will not like me, but I only want her to live. To be able to take a look at her every day is enough. Wei Chang let out a deep sigh, and Zishan, who was at the side, had a grave expression on her face. Uncle Wei, I have another request. Yihang said again. Speak. Uncle Wei, please keep this matter a secret. I don't want Zishan to know about it. Wei Chang and Big Brother Green were puzzled. Such a heroic deed. If I don't tell her about it, how am I supposed to obtain the heart of the beauty? Big Brother Green wished he could raise his hand and slap Zishan. You have already sacrificed so much. If you don't let others know about it, you must be stupid. Why? Wei Chang was very curious about what Yihang was thinking. Zishan was also very curious about Yihang's answer. Yihang scratched the back of his head embarrassedly and said while stammering, I'm afraid. I'm afraid that Zishan will laugh at me. Everyone was speechless. What kind of logic is this? Why would Zishan laugh at you? This is a typical male chauvinist, wanting face. This is the type of person who likes someone to death, but is unable to say it out. Furthermore, I don't want the other party to know about how much I have sacrificed, fearing that the other party would laugh at me after knowing about it. Therefore, I might as well keep it a secret. Wei Chang looked towards Zishan, who was at the side, and discovered that Zishan's expression wasn't as stiff as before. If Zishan's expression is still as cold as before after hearing what I said, there's no need to redeem her expression. All right, I promise you that I will help you keep this secret. Wei Chang said. Yihang looked towards his big brother. Big Brother Green said helplessly, all right, Big Brother won't say anything. Yihang was able to be at ease, but little did he know that Zishan had been looking at him all this while. Uncle Wei, how do I save Zishan? Yihang asked excitedly. Wei Chang let out a breath. Do you remember what I taught you? Just transfer the aura into your body, and it will do. So simple? Wei Chang nodded his head with a smile. All right, I will be going back first. You two should also go back and rest early. And remember to take your wedding photos tomorrow. Yihang was extremely happy right now. And I understand. Little brother, go back home and save Zishan. Big Brother Green reminded. Yihang carried on to Zishan's corpse, then disappeared into the night sky together with his big brother. Yihua flicked away the cigarette butt, then revealed an arc on the corner of his mouth. Ollie, it's time to sleep with Daddy. Ollie, I still want to watch for a while, just a while. Dong Huangli began acting coquettishly. Chapter 302. Inside the villa, Yihang carried Zishan, who was gradually stiffening, and placed her on the bed. Soon after, Yihang lightly moved aside the hair on Zishan's forehead. So beautiful. Zishan, who was under her primordial spirit, was standing at the side. Her expression was very complicated. No one knew what she was thinking. Yihang stretched out her hands, and was about to press it. When Zishan saw Yihang's action, she scolded. "Where are you going to press it?" That's right, Yihang was about to press it on her chest. Don't they always do this on TV? However, she did not press it. She felt that it was not good, so she retracted her hands. Zishan glared at Yihang. "You're molesting my corpse." Right now Yihang was thinking, where should I press it? It feels like I'm eating tofu wherever I press it. Looking at those white and slender hands, she swallowed her saliva and grabbed onto them. Zishan, who was at the side, frowned and did not say anything. A faint black fog came out from Yihang's hands and gradually spread to Zishan's arms. Very quickly, the black fog wrapped around Zishan. Xiaoyi also had this kind of black fog in his body. At that time, when his heart was pierced, he was still able to recover. From this, it could be seen how powerful this black fog was. However, this black fog was only a small passive ability of Wei Chang. Zishan's primordial spirit gradually disappeared with a complicated expression. Yihang did not care about anything, and continued to transfer as much energy as she could into Zishan's body. The cold and delicate hand in her palm gradually warmed up. This made Yihang overjoyed. Uncle Wei did not lie to her. This is great. 5 minutes later, Zishan's body gradually became rosy. At the same time, she opened her eyes. When Yihang saw that Zishan woke up, she was so scared that she immediately let go of Zishan and retreated to the side. The two of them did not say anything. The atmosphere was very awkward. After a long time, Zishan said faintly, "I'm going to take a bath." After she finished speaking, she stood up and walked into the bathroom. Yihang heaved a sigh of relief. I finally saved her. After making the bed on the floor, Yihang was very excited. After Zishan finished her bath, Yihang also went to take a bath. The smell of blood on her body was very heavy. In the dark bedroom, 2 hearts were beating slightly. Yihang could not sleep, and Zishan could not sleep either. After a while, Zishan said softly, "Yihang, thank you." Seeing that Yihang did not say anything, Zishan mustered up her courage and said, "Yihang, I know what you are thinking. I can promise you that I will be your girlfriend for 2 months, but after 2 months, I hope that you will not save me anymore. I am not worthy of you doing this for me." From the looks of it, Zishan was indeed moved by Yihang, and was willing to be his girlfriend for 2 months. However, Zishan still refused Yihua's order, and refused to sleep with Yihang. However, who knows what will happen 2 months later. At that time, wasn't Qingye still very arrogant? And right now, wasn't she still being trained by Yihua to be completely obedient? However, Yihua was after all Yihua. He was different from Yihang. When Zishan saw that Yihang did not reply even after a long time, she furrowed her eyebrows and looked at Yihang. Fell asleep? Zishan laughed and closed her beautiful eyes. Yihang, who was lying on the mattress on the floor, opened her eyes. She had heard everything just now, and was actually very happy. She was so happy that she didn't know what to say. However, when she heard the latter part of the sentence, her heart sank again. Kill her? That was impossible. I owe his honor a debt of gratitude, and she is also the person I like. At most, I will go and beg his honor 2 months later. At most, I will exchange a life for a life. Early morning. Today was a good day for Yihang. After all, his honor had already arranged everything for her to take their wedding photos. Just thinking about it makes me a bit excited. However, the prerequisite is that I have to toss all of my worries to the back of my mind. After washing up, Yihang brought Zishan and walked out of the villa. Big brother naturally wouldn't be a third wheel. Zishan, what do you want to eat for breakfast? Yihang felt that Zishan wasn't that distant from him today. Zishan was even walking side by side with him. Zishan said unhurriedly, cold noodles. Hearing what Zishan said, Yihang became even more happy. In the past, I would just casually, all right. After arriving at the city district and alighting from the car in front of a cold noodles shop, they immediately received attention. The little brother Red today was a bit different. His face was still the same, and his hairstyle was still the same. However, after what happened last night, he seemed to have become more mature. This was a kind of qualitative change in his temperament, and he no longer looked like a loafer. In actuality, the Red and Green brothers didn't know that the aura within their bodies was slowly changing their bodies. "Boss, 2 bowls of cold noodles, 1 bowl without chili," Yihang shouted out. Yesterday, he had also brought Zishan to eat cold noodles, but Zishan had picked out all of the chili from the cold noodles. Therefore, today Yihang became more careful. Zishan didn't have much of an expression on her face. She was very indifferent, but who knew what she was thinking in her heart? Yihang didn't take it to heart. It's fine to just watch, at least it's better than losing it. After finishing eating cold noodles, the two went to the studio that had been arranged beforehand. "I'm afraid that I will have to spend the entire day shooting indoors." Meanwhile, when those staff members saw Zishan, they were all attracted to her. What a cold and arrogant woman. This little brother is very fortunate. Right now, Yihang had changed into a black suit, and he looked much more mature. His hairstyle had also changed, and he felt as if he had become a completely different person, looking extremely handsome. However, when Yihang saw Zishan coming out of the mirror, he couldn't help but stiffen. Although Zishan doesn't have an absolute beauty like the two madams, in my eyes, Zishan is the most beautiful woman in the world. This was the first time Zishan wore a white wedding dress, and when she saw herself in the mirror, she was a bit surprised. There are indeed a lot of fun things in the secular world. "The two of you come over here," the photographer said with a light smile. "Stop looking. If I continue looking, I won't even be able to finish shooting today." Yihang and Zishan walked to the front of the set, and each stood on one side. The photographer felt very awkward. "Are the two of you here to shoot wedding photos? Why are you standing so far away? Is there an air wall in the middle? The two of you, can you get a bit closer?" The photographer said speechlessly. Yihang was very nervous. Zishan was also a bit nervous, and her hands were still holding onto the flowers. Seeing that the bride and groom were not moving, the photographer seemed to have sensed something and did not rush them. "You come over here." In the end, Zishan still called out to Yihang. After getting Zishan's permission, Yihang was at ease and stood at the side. "But isn't this too formal, too serious? What about on the battlefield?" The groom hugged the bride and smiled. The photographer shouted out. Yihang didn't dare to recklessly touch Zishan. "Hug me," Zishan said lightly. This caused Yihang's heart to beat a bit faster. Zishan actually wants me to hug her, my god. I'm not dreaming, right? "Groom, don't be embarrassed, the bride has already spoken." Yihang took a deep breath. This is even more nervous than cheating in exams. Yihang stretched out his hand and lightly hugged onto Zishan's slender waist, then smelled the fragrance that was being emitted out from Zishan's body. "So the world can really be so beautiful," the photographer said with a smile. "All right. Smile." Yihang was nervous to the point that he couldn't smile anymore. And when Zishan revealed out a faint smile, even the photographer couldn't help but become dazed for a bit. "Groom, the bride is already smiling. Hurry up and cooperate." Chapter 303. Good, this is the smile. The photographer was very satisfied. Next, they took all kinds of photos. He would think about what would happen 2 months later. He had to seize the moment and enjoy every second of every day. Inside the bedroom on the second floor of Leisure Bar, both father and daughter had yet to wake up. Dong Huangli's entire body was lying on her father's body, and from time to time, she would purse her small mouth. The void twisted and the two wives finally returned home. Yihua naturally sensed it. He slowly opened his eyes and looked at Qingya and Donghuang Baiji with a calm expression. Dong Huangli also sat up and rubbed her big eyes. When she saw her mommy, she pouted her small mouth and helped her daddy get up. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji were helpless. Both the elder and the younger are angry. However, upon seeing that Yihua was able to stand up with the support of the crutches, the two women immediately became joyous. "Yihua, are you done?" "Yihua, Can you leave now? Are you all blind? I, the Supreme Overlord, have already stood up and you all are still asking me. Yi Hua raised his walking stick and took a look at his two wives indifferently, then said calmly, Ali, accompany Daddy to buy breakfast. All right, Dong Huangli cooperated with her father very well. In actuality, the two of them had already discussed about it. If their mommy were to return, they would use this kind of method to deal with them. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji laughed bitterly, then held onto their husband's side. Why did you come back? It's so fun outside. Yi Hua said faintly, and his tone was filled with the taste of jealousy. As expected of the vinegar king of the cultivation world, to actually be jealous of the heir. Hubby, even if it was Yi Hua who had sworn to ignore them just a second ago, he still wouldn't be able to endure the two of them acting coquettishly towards him. In the future, if you all dare to go out of the house again, you all can go and kneel on the keyboard. Yi Hua said gravely. If you have the heart to do that, we will kneel to you. Qingye smiled tenderly. This fellow is only saying it with his mouth. Yi Hua clicked his tongue, then prepared to go to the alley to eat Chinese jianbing. The point was not to eat the pancake, but to show off. Didn't that auntie say that I would capsize? Look at him now, his two wives are so obedient. And there's even a cute Ali. Facts have proven that I am never wrong. Sure enough, when the auntie saw Yi Hua, she gave him a thumbs up. The auntie was convinced. Yi Hua was very complacent. I have finally turned the tables. Returning back to the bedroom, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji fawned on Yi Hua. They gave Yi Hua a massage and even fed him fruits. Yi Hua said magnanimously, I forgive the two of you. Just as he finished speaking, the slender hand on his shoulder disappeared, and the fruit was also put away. You all. Yi Hua was shocked. You guys are too realistic. While holding hands with Donghuang Baiji, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji said with a smile, Yi Hua, since you are able to move now, you don't need us to serve you anymore. Let's go and look for you Tong and Zizi to eat chicken, bye-bye. After finished speaking, Yi Hua turned around and left. Only when the door was closed did Yi Hua react. What a lawless woman. Go and kneel on the keyboard for me, and you still want to act like you're eating chicken. Eat my food. A week passed by very quickly. During this week, Yi Hua asked the two women what they were doing during those few days. In the end, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji gave Yi Hua a rough idea of what they were doing during those few days. This caused Yi Hua to be very worried. Recently, I have been preparing to have another child with Baiji. After I recover, I will be able to start working. I, the Supreme Overlord, will definitely put more effort into my child. As long as I don't have another child, I will not give up. When Donghuang Baiji heard what Yi Hua said, she was immediately startled. Thus, Yi Hua's recovery speed was much faster than anyone else's. For the sake of having a child, Yi Hua was quite diligent. However, there was a happy event that happened today, and it was a happy event for the entire team. And that was his underlings Yi Hong and Zishan's wedding. The two's wedding was the outdoor kind. Originally, Yi Hua wanted to invite the big shots from various regions over, but since his underlings said that he wanted to keep a low profile, Yi Hua decided to let him have his way. Other than Death Mage and Sun Fang, who were not present due to inconvenience, everyone else was present. After all, Zhu Tian had only met the two women not too long ago. This time, Zhu Tian turned into his original form and was carried by Yi Zizi. When the women saw such a cute cat, they immediately surrounded Yi Zizi and stroked Yi Zizi. This caused Zhu Tian to feel very annoyed. Today, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were also dressed splendidly. However, they knew that they shouldn't steal the limelight from the bride. Thus, the color of their clothes was a bit plain. Lai Gu's three celebrities were also the same. Each and every one of them was incomparably beautiful. Of course, there was also Wei Chang's little girlfriend, Tang Wei. Right now, she was also exuding a faint charm. It really made people sigh. Yi Hua was dressed very cautiously today, because today, he was acting as the MC. As the boss, I definitely have to host the wedding of my underlings. In the future, every time my underlings get married, I have to be like this too. Only then will I be able to show the care and concern of a boss. Standing on the stage and looking at the people below, Yi Hua sighed with emotion. Unknowingly, There were so many more people in the team. In the past, there were always 8 people. Now there were more than 10. There would be more and more of them in the future. Seeing that everyone's face was brimming with smiles, Yihua also revealed out a smile that was rarely seen on his face. This feeling is truly great. Let's welcome the bride and groom. Yihua stood on the stage and shouted out loudly. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji smiled helplessly. This fellow is even more excited that his little brother is getting married. All of the underlings were very envious of little brother Red. Little brother Red was actually able to get his honor to host his wedding. Just what kind of glory is this? Tang Wei was also very envious. After I graduate, I will also marry Uncle Wei. Lai Gu's 3 wives were also the same. They were all envious. In actuality, the ones who were the most envious were still Qingye and Donghuang Baiji. They are so concerned about their little brother's wedding. But why aren't they concerned about their own wedding at all? Big Brother Green turned on the music, and the wedding march started playing. Dong Huangli could be seen walking at the front while holding onto a flower basket. Dong Huangli's cute little face was bright red, and she seemed to be a bit nervous. Yihang was wearing a red suit today, and he looked very handsome. Zishan, who was beside Zishan, was holding onto Yihang's hand. Zishan was wearing a white veil on her head. Yihua, who was standing on the stage, felt very gratified. I didn't waste my efforts. All of the underlings also discovered that his honor's change was really big. In the past, if this kind of thing happened, Zishan would have been killed long ago. This kind of thing happens very often. The number of beauties that died in his honor's hands was innumerable. And even the most beautiful women were killed by his honor. And now, not only was Zishan not killed, his honor even gave Zishan a fated marriage. Don't look at it as just a small fated marriage. Didn't his honor still expand his team? As for whether or not Zishan likes Yihang or not, no one knows. However, at least from the looks of it, Zishan doesn't seem to dislike Yihang at all. The two slowly walked onto the stage, and the big brother walked onto the stage while holding onto a plate with the wedding rings on it. Yihua coughed lightly. What I want to ask now, I hope that you all can answer truthfully. Chapter 304. Yihang, are you willing to marry her? No matter what happens in the future, we will stick together through life and death. Yihua's question was rather simple, but it directly hit the main point. How many people could live and die together? I'm willing, Yihang said firmly. However, Yihua was not satisfied and said gravely, a man's voice must be loud. Shout it out. I'm willing. Yihua nodded his head. As expected of my underling. Looking towards Zishan, Yihua asked gravely, Zishan, are you willing to marry this man in front of you? No matter what happens in the future, we will live and die together. Right now, everyone who knew what was going on was very nervous. If Zishan were to say that she was not willing right now, she would definitely anger his honor. Needless to say, there was no need to think too much about the consequences. In actuality, the one who was the most nervous was Yihang. The more she interacted with Zishan, the deeper they fell for each other. Furthermore, during the past few days, Zishan had also changed a lot. She really resembles my girlfriend a lot. At the very least, Zishan is no longer fierce towards me. I'm willing. Zishan's gentle voice rang out in the hall. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. The happy event did not turn into a bad one. Yihang was so excited that her lips were trembling. She was willing. She was really willing. He suddenly realized that doing anything for her was worth it. Yihua was also very satisfied with Zishan's attitude. However, Zishan's gaze had always been on Yihang. Other than Zishan, Zishan didn't have a good impression of anyone else. Let's exchange rings, Yihua said with a light smile. With trembling hands, Yihang picked up the wedding ring and put it on Zishan's hand. Zishan appeared to be much calmer as she placed the wedding ring on Yihang's finger. Alright, I declare it. You two are now legally husband and wife, Yihua shouted out. The audience also applauded, and Big Brother Green even shed tears. Little brother had finally gotten married. Yihua waved his hand, indicating for everyone to quiet down, then said, Do you want to see the groom kiss the bride? Your Honor, when did you become so mischievous? Wasn't he happy? Qingye and Donghuang Baiji smiled helplessly. However, they were also able to see Yihua's change. He was no longer as cold as before, and he had become more humane. Yes. Ali wants to see, meow. Yihua looked at Yihong and said, You have heard everyone's thoughts, right? Don't let the girl take the initiative. Hearing that, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were very puzzled. What do you mean by this time? What about the last time? However, he was quickly attracted by the atmosphere of the scene. The nervous Yihong didn't know what to say, while Zishan slowly closed her beautiful eyes. Lai Gu immediately stood on the chair and started whistling. Along with Lai Gu leading the way, everyone started heckling. Looking at this kind of scene, Yihua felt that he should hold more events like this in the future. Yihong mustered up her courage and gently hugged Zishan. She lifted the white veil and slowly lowered her head to kiss Zishan's tender and beautiful lips. Yihua couldn't help but nod his head. This is more like a man. But it was not domineering enough. The audience applauded enthusiastically. Although there weren't any big shots, everyone present could easily destroy them, especially the 4 of the 7 deadly sins. Don't be in such a hurry to consummate your marriage. I still have a few things that I want to ask you too. Yihua said faintly. Everyone couldn't help but be curious as to what his honor was going to ask. Wei Chang hurriedly noted down what his honor was going to ask. In the future, his honor will definitely have to take a test on him. Big Brother Green was also at the side, taking down notes. Who is going to do the housework in the future? Yihua asked. Everyone. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji rolled their eyes at Yihua. You still have the nerve to ask? Are you afraid that you have already done the housework? In the end, aren't the 2 of us sweeping the floor while you act like a big boss? Me. Yihong rushed to answer. Yihua's expression sunk. Yihua asked again. Who is going to take the express delivery? Me. Yihong rushed to answer again. There's no need to ask anymore. This is the rhythm of taking care of everything. Yihua took a glare at Yihong. Are you even a man? This kind of thing is for women to do. Why are you rushing to do it? Yihong naturally understood his honor's meaning, but I just want to do it. Yihua asked gravely. Who is going to cook in the future? Me. Zishan said slowly. Yihong was startled, but there was happiness within the shock. Yihua was very satisfied. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji really wanted to pull their man down. If you continue to make a fuss like this, others are going to get a divorce. Who is going to peel the crayfish? Yihua asked. Zishan said slowly, me. Yihua took a look at his little brother. Men must be domineering. If not, how are they going to establish themselves in the family in the future? Little brother Red didn't understand. In actuality, Zishan didn't want Yihong to offend Yihua. After all, it wasn't worth it for Zishan to offend Yihua for herself. Meanwhile, Wei Chang and Big Brother Green took note of his honor's question. The last event, tossing a bouquet. Those who aren't married, come and snatch it. Whoever manages to snatch it will be the next lucky person. I will be the host of the wedding. Yihua, who was so happy, almost let it slip. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji could be seen walking up first. Yihua glared at them fiercely. Why are you 2 coming up to join in the fun? Qingye rolled her eyes at Yihua. We want to get married. Right now, even your wife is going up. Do the others still dare to go up? Yihua shouted out. Who is that Tang Wei? Come up. Also, the 3 of you come up too. Wei Chang and Lai Gu, the 2 of you come up too. Also, Little Green, come up too. Brother-in-law, I want to come up too. Qin Yutong shouted out excitedly. Since everyone is going up, it isn't too appropriate for me to sit together with a minor, right? Yi Zizi was sucking on her lollipop while hugging onto the board Ju Tian. It's none of your business, go to the side. Yihua glared at his sister-in-law. Your big sister is joining in the fun, you come up too. Qin Yutong pouted her small mouth. I don't even have a boyfriend yet. Yihong was very nervous. These big brothers are all standing at the back, waiting for Zishan to toss a bouquet. Meanwhile, Zishan also felt that this group of people was different. Within the seriousness, there was a hint of laughter. They seemed to be very happy together, and the smile on everyone's face was very genuine. Lai Gu shouted out loudly. Don't snatch with me, I want to get married. Lai Gu, if you dare to snatch my bouquet, you are dead for sure. Qingye shouted out with a smile. Lady boss, this is the boss's order. Wei Chong laughed out loudly. Lai Gu, your boss wants to stew you. The few beauties on the stage immediately laughed endlessly. Yihua felt that the atmosphere was about right, and he shouted out, snatch properly, don't cheat. Everyone naturally wouldn't cheat, after all. Cheating wouldn't work. With her back facing everyone, Zishan tossed the bouquet with her hands. The bouquet drew an arc in the air. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were standing too close to the front, and the bouquet was already above the two people's heads. Wei Chong and Lai Gu could be seen immediately jumping up to snatch the bouquet. And in the process of snatching the bouquet was sent flying away. Qing Yutong's eyes lit up. I can snatch the bouquet even though I'm sitting down? At this moment, a gust of wind blew over, and the bouquet actually flew towards Zhu Tian, who was in Yi Zizi's embrace. Zhu Tian's brows wrinkled, then stretched out his paw and slapped towards the bouquet. When everyone saw this, they thought, what a temperamental cat. Chapter 305. Big Brother Green didn't react for a moment, but when he did, he was excited. First, he did an impromptu Thomas spin, and the turf was almost gone. Looking at Qingye and Donghuang Baiji rolling their eyes at him, Yihua felt that there was nothing he could do about it. Who asked the two of you to be so stupid and stand at the very front? At the end of the ceremony, everyone began to chat. The women were grouped together, and the men were grouped together. The women were all asking the bride special questions, and Tang Wei also wanted to learn a bit of experience. After that, they started to talk about cosmetics. Actually, at their level, cosmetics were actually not very useful. As for Yihua and the others, they weren't discussing such a small matter. Your Honor, according to Sun Fang's news, a lot of foreigners have appeared in the south, and it seems like they want to take advantage of us. Wei Chong said gravely. Everyone remained silent. If Yihua didn't speak, how could they possibly continue the conversation? Yihua drank a mouthful of champagne. Then let them have it. After we are full, we will catch them all in one go. Lai Gu praised. Your Honor sure has a good plan. Just when they thought that they had succeeded, Your Honor immediately shouted at them. Your Honor is formidable. Lai Gu, you even know how to speak now? Yihua laughed lightly. Lai Gu scratched his chin embarrassedly. Recently, I have been reading books and gaining knowledge. That would be for the best. Knowledge is power. The two of you should also learn more. Yihua looked towards the Green and Red brothers and said. The Green and Red brothers naturally agreed to His Honor's request. Following His Honor, we will definitely be able to eat and drink well. Yihong had a look that seemed like she had something to say, but didn't dare to say it. Yihua asked curiously, Xiaohong, if you have something to say, just say it. Why are you stuttering like a man? Your Honor, are you able to take back that 2 months deadline? Yihong asked while trembling with fear. When this question came out, Wei Chong and Lai Gu's complexion immediately darkened. Even Big Brother Green also scolded me for being an idiot. You want His Honor to take back what he said? Don't you want to live anymore? Or are you too full of yourself? Yihong knew that she had said the wrong thing. Yihong lowered her head and scolded herself for being an idiot in her heart. His Honor is already treating me so well. And yet, I still have the cheek to raise a request. When Zishan saw that Yihong had her head lowered, and the other people's expressions were extremely ugly, Zishan could roughly guess what Yihong was talking about. Yihua patted on Yihong's shoulder, then walked towards his wives without saying anything. Lai Gu shook his head and walked away as well. This is also your wedding day. If it was any other time, His Honor would definitely give you a scolding. The reason why Yihua patted on Little Brother Red's shoulder was because he wanted to tell Little Brother Red that I, the Supreme Overlord, can bestow, and can also take back. Don't forget your place. Xiaohong, don't beg His Honor for this matter anymore. If not, the consequences will be very serious. Wei Chong said gravely. Right now, in this kind of situation, Zishan could only save herself and get pregnant at the fastest speed possible. However, Zishan wouldn't do such a thing, and this caused Yi Hong to have no choice but to anger his honor. This is a very troublesome problem. After saying that, Wei Chong went to accompany his girlfriend, leaving Big Brother Green behind. Little brother, don't be discouraged. Enlighten Zishan and strive to get her pregnant as soon as possible. That way, nothing will happen. How could Yi Hong not know about her big brother's persuasion? But she didn't want to force it. She was actually very satisfied with her current life. After chatting for a long time, everyone went back to their own home. Yi Hua finally knew what was called reap what you sow. Right now he was asking questions in his ears. Yi Hua, when are you going to marry us? Yi Hua, do you not want to marry us? Yi Hua, do you have another woman outside again? Papa, Ali also wants to get married. It seemed that he couldn't let them attend weddings in the future. However, as for getting married, Yi Hua had naturally thought about it before. My wedding with them must be an unprecedentedly grand spectacle. However, that still requires a bit of time, because I have yet to conquer the Sea of Stars. Zijin City, Qing family's villa. A handsome man drove a Bentley and stopped in front of the villa. The man took a lot of gifts from the car, then walked to the door and knocked. The door of the house could be seen being opened, and the woman who appeared was precisely Qingya's mother, Zihan. Looking at the unfamiliar handsome man in front of her, Zihan asked in confusion, "You are? Aunt Z, don't you remember me? I am Chen Xuanzong. When I was young, I used to play at your house. When I was studying, I would come back home with Qingya every day. At that time, I was very fat." As he spoke, Chen Xuanzong puffed up his cheeks, proving that he was still the big fatty from before. Zihan suddenly recalled. Back then when she was in Long'an City, there was a family with the surname Chen who lived in the neighbor's house. When she was young, she remembered that he was still chubby. It had been a few years since she last saw him, and he had become so handsome. "Oh, it's little Chen. Please come in," Zihan said with a smile. "Thank you, Aunt." Chen Xuanzong changed into slippers and walked into the house. Everything feels so familiar, as if it happened just yesterday. Aunt Z, is Qingya not at home? Although Chen Xuanzong knew why Qingya wasn't at home, he still couldn't help but ask. Perhaps history has changed. Upon mentioning her daughter, Zihan let out a deep sigh. Seeing that Aunt's expression wasn't good, Chen Xuanzong knew that history had not changed. Qingya was still following that bastard Long Out Yin. Aunt, quickly sit. Chen Xuanzong placed down the gifts and helped Zihan to sit down. Looking at this handsome man in front of me, at least it is better than that Yi Hua who has a stern face, right? Why is Qingya so stubborn? Zihan let out a heavy sigh. Little Chen, to tell you the truth, Qingya is living outside in a fit of pique again. As expected, that Long Out Yin is really inhumane. Not only did he harm Qingya, he also harmed Qing Yutong. He is simply inhumane. Brother, ever since Yi Hua appeared, your memory has been messed up. Long Out Yin is still struggling in his cave. Qingya's temper is a bit bad, but she still cares about the family. Chen Xuanzong naturally had to put in a good word for Qingya. Zihan still had some impression of the little fatty in the past. At that time, he was shy and bashful. Now he is so tall and handsome. He is indeed a good match for Qingya. Stop putting in a good word for her. She is infuriating me to death. Chen Xuanzong laughed lightly, appearing to be very magnanimous. This made Zihan feel that this person is more stable than Long Out Yin. Little Chen, why did you suddenly move back then? Zihan asked curiously. Chen Xuanzong's expression stiffened. Back then he didn't move, but rather his entire family was exterminated. Back then he wasn't there, so he managed to escape the calamity. After that, he concealed his identity and lived in seclusion. However, he still paid attention to Qingya. However, after hearing the news of Qingya's suicide, Chen Xuanzong became addicted to alcohol, and in the end, he jumped into a river and died. In the end, he reincarnated into a different world, became a demon emperor, and returned. Chen Xuanzong laughed lightly. Auntie, it's all because of the family's business problems. Back then, I left in a hurry and didn't even have the time to greet Qingya. It's fine. I will call Qingya back right now. I am really worried about her staying in the south all day long. After speaking, Zihan picked up her phone and called her daughter. Right now, Qingye was currently being pressed down by Yihua, and Yihua was using all of his strength to enjoy Qingye's cherry lips. Stop messing around. My phone is ringing. Don't answer it. Yihua said gravely. I am currently enjoying myself, and no one is allowed to disturb me. Wait a moment. Qingye rolled her eyes at Yihua. Yihua wrinkled his brows. Hurry up. Picking up the phone, Yihua saw that the call was from his mother. It has been a long time since he last saw his mother, and he misses her a lot. Chapter 306. When Yihua heard this name, he frowned. He had a bad premonition. Zihan said weakly on the other side of the phone. Your mom misses you. This sentence directly poked the softest part of Qingye's heart. Thinking about it, I haven't gone back to see mom for a long time. Sigh. Mom, I miss you too. Qingye sat on the bedside and said gently. Yihua hugged Qingye and gave her a warning look. You just came back for a few days, and you want to go out again? Yeah, I heard from your dad that the South isn't very peaceful recently. We are worried about you and your sister staying there. Mom, you can be at ease. Yutong and I are very safe. Nothing will happen to us. Qingye consoled her mom attentively. However, this damned bastard was still randomly touching my body again. Zihan said faintly. Your dad might be stubborn, but he actually misses you guys a lot. His body hasn't been very good these few days, so Grandpa and Grandma have been staying here. Qingye thought about it and agreed. Dad definitely got some news that the South isn't safe, so he called Grandpa and Grandma over. Hearing that her daughter didn't say anything, Zihan held onto her forehead and said, Mom's body hasn't been very good these few days either. If Qingye still didn't go back, she would be unfilial. Mom, I know. Yutong and I will come back in a few days. Qingye said helplessly. Yihua's gaze turned cold. What are you trying to do? Leaving so soon? Do you want to die? Yeah, or don't come back in a few days. Mom misses you. All right, as soon as possible. Hearing that her daughter agreed, Zihan heaved a sigh of relief and hung up the phone. This year is really worrisome. I had to pretend to be sick before coming. Zihan stood up helplessly and poured a cup of water for Chen Xuanzong. Chen Xuanzong thanked her and took the teacup. Auntie, Qingye is just concerned about you. Zihan smiled and asked curiously. Little Chen, have you found a girlfriend? Sigh, it's hard to find a girlfriend. I'm still single. Chen Xuanzong smiled embarrassedly. Zihan smiled. Little Chen, don't say that. With your conditions, you are still looking for a girlfriend. But it's hard to find someone who is sincere. Chen Xuanzong let out a sigh. Zihan seemed to understand something and took a sip of tea awkwardly. Chen Xuanzong also knew that he had said too much. He said apologetically, Auntie, I'm sorry. I'm fine. Then I still have some matters to attend to, so I'll take my leave first. I won't disturb your rest any longer, Auntie. Chen Xuanzong stood up and acted very modestly. Zihan deeply liked him. Zihan nodded. Okay, little Chen, take care. Oh right, little Chen, give me your phone number. If Ye comes back, I'll call you. Chen Xuanzong was overjoyed. He took out his name card and said, Thank you, Auntie. Yes, Auntie has high hopes for you. Walking out of Qing family's villa, Chen Xuanzong let out a sigh of relief. In my previous life, I wasn't able to bring happiness to Qingye. So in this life, I will definitely cherish her properly and not let her suffer any harm. Zihan, who was in the house, looked at the name card in her hand. It was made of pure gold, and there was only a name on it. It was engraved in a flamboyant style, Chen Xuanzong. It looked very imposing, and there was a phone number on the back. This young man was not bad. Zihan, who came just now. Qing Yutong's mother, Wang Muqing, walked down from upstairs while yawning. Zihan laughed lightly. One of Ye's childhood companions. Those two are always making one worry. Wang Muqing poured a cup of water, and that coquettish look of hers was truly amorous. Qingye's father is also someone who knows how to enjoy life. I gave Ye a call just now. She will bring Yutong back. Really? Wang Muqing cried out in surprise. Zihan nodded her head. As long as my daughter says it, she will definitely do it. Just that there will be very serious consequences, such as being bullied by Yihua. You want to go back? Yihua asked coldly. Qinya placed down her phone and looked at Yihua, then suddenly pushed her hands forward. Qinya pushed Yihua onto the bed, then very domineeringly kissed her man. I, the supreme overlord, like this kind of domineering woman. Even a kiss can be so awesome. Yihua, I, the supreme overlord, can't stand this kind of sound the most, and goosebumps immediately appeared on my body. This is how people behave when they have something to ask of me. Yihua, Yihua asked gravely. How many days are you going to be gone for? Half a month? Half a month. Yihua shouted out gravely. Ever since Qinya awakened that whatever bloodline of hers, Qinya has been wandering around and not returning home at all times. Even I, the supreme overlord, am not as busy as you. That is 10 days. Qinya shook Yihua's arm and begged. Yihua said gravely, 1 week. If you don't come back in a week, don't blame me for catching you. All right, it's settled then. Upon hearing that Yihua agreed to it, Qinya immediately jumped off the bed. As expected, he couldn't agree to it. He wouldn't even give her any benefits. Wasn't 1 more week too long? Actually 2 or 3 days would suffice. Qinya opened up the wardrobe and prepared some clothes. Yihua, when I'm not around, you should focus on making a baby with Baiji. Yihua sneered. Also, Zizi has to go to school tomorrow to register. Don't forget about it. Qinya reminded. Yihua was very displeased. This is clearly what you wanted to do. And now, you are pushing everything onto me. You're my husband, moi. There was nothing wrong with his words. Why are you packing things so early for? I'm going early and coming back early, lest you, the jealous king of the cultivation world, get mad at me. The corner of Yihua's mouth twitched, then snorted. Yihua, will get jealous? You are thinking too much. It's even better if you don't get jealous. Let your wife kiss you. Be good. Do you think that I, the supreme overlord, am a 3-year-old child? Just a kiss is enough? I don't even need to hug. After Qinya finished packing, she booked a flight in the afternoon. Why didn't she just fly back directly? Because Qinya didn't want to lose her normal way of thinking. Just like Yihua, in situations where it wasn't very urgent, he would still take public transportation. Qinya walked to Qin Yutong's room, and not long later, she heard Qin Yutong wailing. What's with big sister's situation? Yihua raised his walking stick and said to Qin Yutong, if your big sister wants you to go back, then go back, don't dawdle. However, Yihua sent a private message to Qin Yutong. Look after your big sister well. I will give you meat to eat when I come back. Upon hearing that there would be meat to eat, Qin Yutong's expression changed. Big sister, we haven't gone back for too long. Hurry up and pack up. Qinya was no longer an ordinary person. Although she wasn't able to hear their private message, she knew that it was Yihua who was messing around. To actually send a spy to watch over me, what a stingy man. However, Qinya still felt sweet in her heart. Zizi, sister-in-law, will be going back for a few days. You have to be obedient. Qinya rubbed onto Zizi's head and warned carefully. Zizi nodded her head. I will be obedient. Chapter 307. The more she said that, the more Yihua didn't believe her. At this moment, Donghuang Baiji walked over while carrying her daughter. What are you two doing? Qinya is going back to my parents' home for a few days. Yihua said faintly. Qinya pinched onto Donghuang Li's cheeks. Baiji, please take care of Yihua. I won't disturb the two of you anymore. Donghuang Baiji's face turned red. Aunt Qing, are you two going out to play? Ali wants to go out to play too. Donghuang Li stretched out her hands towards Qinya. Qinya carried Donghuang Li in her embrace. Aunt Qing is not going out to play. I am going back to see my parents. Is that so? According to etiquette, Ali should also go and see her parents. If not, Ali would seem to be very rude. Donghuang Li muttered, causing everyone to laugh. Yihua suddenly had an idea. Qinya, you can bring Ali along to play. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji cried out in surprise. After crying out in surprise, Qinya understood what Yihua meant. Towards Donghuang Baiji, there was nothing she could do. Donghuang Baiji glared at Yihua. Daddy is the best, Ali likes daddy. Donghuang Li happily jumped down from Qinya's embrace, and not long later, she came back with a small luggage. Ali is ready, when are we leaving? Everyone. At 3 p.m. Yihua naturally had to send Qinya and his daughter off. Donghuang Baiji was also by his side, because Yihua was going to be responsible for driving later on. Yihua's driving was like a bumper car. When he saw someone cutting in front of him, he couldn't help but step on the accelerator. When they arrived at the airport, the few people were quite eye-catching. One was a cute little girl, and 3 were super beauties. A lot of foreigners took out their phones and started taking pictures. Such beauties were truly hard to come by in 100 years. Baiji, you two can go back first, I will take good care of Ali. Qinya said with a smile while carrying Donghuang Li. Donghuang Li said, Daddy, Mommy, you two can go back first, Ali will take good care of Aunt Qing. Qing Yutong naturally disguised herself as the big sister. She wore her earphones and stood behind the big sister, while sucking on the lollipop that Yi Zizi gave her. Yihua silently nodded his head, then said casually, Qinya, I want to ask you a few questions. Papa is going to take a test. Everyone smiled helplessly. Yihua said faintly, Do you know what the punishment is? I'm going to give you a kiss. Qinya pouted her mouth. I want to act cool in public again. It's good that you know. Then let me ask you the first question. What should I wear for the class reunion? Qinya laughed lightly. Class reunion? I'm not going at all. Donghuang Baiji covered her mouth and laughed lightly. Regarding Yihua's problem, the 2 women had already discussed about it. Aunt Qing is the best. Donghuang Li knew that she had answered correctly, and thus, Donghuang Li kissed onto Qinya's face. You guessed correctly. Yihua was unhappy. Can't I just enjoy the envious gaze of others? Mian. Before Yihua could finish speaking, Qinya said, I only have you in my heart. Donghuang Li's face became red, and she buried her head into Qinya's bosom. Yihua let out a sigh. Seems like I have to think of another method. However, just as Yihua was feeling disappointed, Qinya still tiptoed and gave Yihua a kiss. Soon after, Qinya picked up her luggage and said, All right, you two can go back now. Looking at their backs that were leaving, Yihua touched his cheek. Qinya is really becoming more and more mischievous. Yihua took a glance at his surroundings. Humans, go and exclaim in admiration at my luck with women. There's nothing that you won't be able to enjoy in your entire life. After finished speaking, Yihua hugged onto Donghuang Baiji who was beside him. Who dares to act cool in front of me? Donghuang Baiji was helpless. My syndrome of acting cool after smoking is getting serious. Even when I don't smoke, I still have to do it. Baiji, let's go back and make a baby. Yihua was a bit excited. I have to warm up my body first when I go back, in case I break my waist. Donghuang Baiji sat on the driver's seat and said coquettishly, You should rest for a few days first, don't break your waist. Right now, I am full of vigor and vigor. I can even fight for 3 days and 3 nights. Alright, let's enjoy our world together. A layer of redness appeared on Donghuang Baiji's face. This is a rare opportunity for me to enjoy our world together. Indescribably, Donghuang Baiji started feeling nervous. Yihua, who was sitting on the co-pilot seat, said faintly, Baiji, don't be like last time, fainting in just a few hours. Yihua. Donghuang Baiji pouted coquettishly. That was something that happened 3 years ago. And you still dare to mention it. Yihua turned his head and looked towards Donghuang Baiji. Baiji, I like how you looked that night. You were very beautiful. Stop messing around, I'm driving. Donghuang Baiji bit onto her lips. This fellow sent everyone away so that he could make a move on me. What a scheming man. Haha. Yihua expressed that he was very happy. I am about to enjoy Donghuang Baiji's mature body soon. Just thinking about it makes me a bit excited. On the other side, this was the first time Donghuang Li sat on a big plane, and she was very excited. Because they were in a rush, they didn't buy any business class tickets and only bought ordinary tickets. However, since the 3 of them were sitting in a row, Donghuang Li definitely had to sit by the window to look at the white clouds. Ali, fasten your seatbelt. Qinya instructed. Dong Huangli hurriedly fastened her seatbelt, then asked curiously, Aunt Qing, Daddy and Mommy are giving birth at home. You won't be angry, right? Qingya went into a daze, then stroked onto Dong Huangli's face. If I am going to be angry, I would have long exploded from anger. Now that things have come to this, there's nothing to be angry about. Furthermore, Dong Huang Baiji is also not bad, I can accept it, but she is the only one. If it was in the past, I would, but now I won't. Qingya said with a gentle smile. Dong Huangli nodded her head. She had a look of, I am a little adult, I understand everything, you don't need to explain anything to me. Qing Yutong pouted her mouth. Big sister really changed. Or rather, love has changed both brother-in-law and big sister. Master, the battle to push down brother-in-law has already been delayed for so long, when are we going to continue? Qing Yutong's system asked. Qing Yutong replied while listening to the song. Let's talk about this matter in the future, I want to sleep now. In the past, I did indeed have the intention to push down brother-in-law, but after seeing how noisy they were, I didn't want to push down brother-in-law anymore. What's more, with such a strong backing like brother-in-law, what's the difference between pushing down brother-in-law or not pushing down brother-in-law? If I were to be bullied, wouldn't brother-in-law have to seek justice for me? Sister-in-law is a pretty good position. Aunt Qing. Dong Huangli shouted out. Qingya and Qing Yutong both looked over. Dong Huangli pursed her lips. Sometimes, when the two of us are together, if the two of us were to call each other Aunt Qing, the two of us would turn around to look at each other. Aunt Qing, Ali feels that I have to change the way I address you. Qingya smiled sweetly. All right, then what should Ali call Aunt Qing? Mommy Qing, Qing Yutong laughed, and Qingya poked her little sister petulantly. Looking at Ali's expectant gaze, Qingya spread out her hands. All right, but Ali cannot call me that in front of Mommy Qing's family. Chapter 308. Later on, if Dong Huangli were to directly call me mother, my mother would probably go into a daze. The gray plane safely landed at Zijin City's international airport. Qingya was carrying on to Dong Huangli, who had already fallen asleep, while Qing Yutong was in charge of pushing the luggage. He hailed a taxi and went straight home. I reckon that even the parents didn't know that their two daughters would come back so quickly, and Qingya and Qing Yutong were evidently going to give the parents a surprise. It was already 7 o'clock in the evening when he arrived home. It just so happened that it was dinner time. Qingya was still hugging onto Dong Huangli, who was sleeping soundly, and Qing Yutong was secretly removing her makeup to prevent her parents from chattering endlessly. Ding dong. Ding dong, it was Uncle Fu who opened the door. Ladies, sorry, I was too excited. You guys are finally back. Uncle Fu was also very excited. This was the first time he had seen the two young ladies come back at the same time. This kind of situation was something he had seen in school. Uncle Fu. Uncle Fu. Qingya and Qing Yutong greeted enthusiastically. Two misses, quickly come in. The master and the madams are currently eating dinner. Uncle Fu took over the luggage from Qing Yutong's hands, and Qingya and Qing Yutong walked into the house. Dong Huangli was still sleeping soundly. It was normal for children to love sleeping. The two sisters walked to the dining room, and saw that the whole family was there. Seeing that his daughter and granddaughter had returned, everyone was surprised. Zihan and Wang Muqing were overjoyed. They had just made a phone call at noon, and they came back at night. They were really much more sensible than before. As the father, Qing Huashuan's gaze was filled with joy, but he still kept a straight face, seemingly unable to let go of his face. Old man Qing Chengren revealed out a kind smile. An old lady Mei Xuanshuang looked at her two granddaughters confusedly. Her dementia is getting more and more serious. Right now, she seems to be unable to recognize Qingya and Qing Yutong. However, this time when Qingya came back, she had the ability to cure her grandmother's dementia. Yeah, Yutong, the two of you haven't eaten yet, right? Quickly sit down and eat. Mom will scoop some rice for you. Zihan cried tears of joy. Last time they parted on bad terms. After such a long time, her daughter had finally returned. But who was the child his daughter was carrying? Qingya, the child in your bosom is? Qing Chengren asked. Qingya said tenderly, This is my friend's child, I will take care of him for a few days. It can be considered as a warm-up. When Qingye said warm up, everyone immediately knew that there was another one in Qingye's stomach. Qing Yutong silently praised her big sister for being awesome. After her bloodline awakened, even her temperament has changed. Qing Chengren seemed to have gotten over it and said gravely, Qingye, this is someone else's child. You have to properly look after him. Don't let anything happen to him. Grandpa, I know. Zihan hurriedly picked up some food for her daughter. Don't talk anymore, Qingye, you eat more. Mom, you should eat more too. Dong Huangli suddenly let out a sweet melody. She rubbed her big hazy eyes and asked, Mommy Qing, where are we? Mom. Everyone was puzzled, and Qing Yutong felt that little Ali was here to trick her big sister. Ali, we're home. Dong Huangli went into a daze. Aunt Qing, we've arrived. Just now, Ali even dreamt of Mommy. This little Ali sure is smart. Dong Huangli could be seen taking a look at everyone. Then standing upright at the side, she shouted out, Grandpa, Grandma, Uncle, Aunt, hello everyone, my name is Dong Huangli. It's our first time meeting, please take care of me. Right now, Ali doesn't have any income, so I don't have any money to buy gifts. Therefore, please don't blame Ali. When Ali becomes rich in the future, I will definitely not come empty-handed. Dong Huangli felt that she didn't lose face for her daddy. Since daddy didn't come, I am naturally daddy's representative. Everyone went into a daze. This little doll is so polite. If we were to let them know that she is Yihua's daughter, they definitely wouldn't believe it. The father has the appearance of the world's number one. And yet, his daughter is so outstanding. Qingye, whose child is this? Why is she so obedient? Wang Muqing was very fond of Dong Huangli. Wang Muqing walked over and carried Dong Huangli up. This little fellow is truly too likable. Qingye said tenderly, she is the child of a good friend. Dong Huangli loved to listen to adults praising her. Ali, promise Mommy that I will take good care of Aunt Qing. Dong Huangli began showing off her maturity again. Qingye and Qing Yutong laughed tenderly. Zihan also walked over and said with a smile, Ali sure is sensible. Qing Huaxian said faintly, all right everyone, sit down and eat. The dishes are already cold. On the dining table, Dong Huangli placed all kinds of dishes on the adults' plates, causing everyone to be extremely happy. Even Qing Huaxian revealed out a rare smile. This little girl sure is sensible. Seeing that everyone was more or less happy, Dong Huangli said to Qingye in a low voice, Mommy Qing, you can be at ease, Ali will protect you. This is the mission that Daddy gave Ali. Qingye smiled very sweetly and said in a low voice, I knew that Ali is the best. That is for sure. Qing Huaxian placed down his chopsticks and said faintly, Qingye Yutong, after coming back, don't go back to the south, that place is very chaotic right now. Zihan also followed up and said, that's right, I heard that a lot of people died there. Dad, Mom, big sister and I plan to rest for a week before going back. After all, there is still a lot of work to do there. Qing Yutong naturally had to speak up for big sister. If we don't go back, how could brother-in-law possibly bring me along to act cool? In actuality, what I am worried about the most is that brother-in-law would come over to snatch Qingyu away. Who is this child? Did you give birth to a child? Mei Xuanshuang suddenly cried out in surprise, giving everyone a fright. Seeing that his wife's condition was getting serious, Qing Chengren's gaze revealed out a look of pity. Did Grandma's condition worsen again? Qingye asked gravely, not knowing if she would be able to cure Grandma's condition with her own ability. Qing Huaxian let out a breath, then said faintly, Qingye, don't worry about Grandma's condition. Grandpa has already invited Sage Doctor over to take a look at Grandma's condition. Sage Doctor? Qingye and Qing Yutong called out in puzzlement. Qing Chengren said with a smile, Qingye Yutong, the two of you might not know yet, but in the north, there is a Sage Doctor. His whereabouts are very mysterious, and his medical skills are even more so like that of a god. It is very hard to invite him over even if you have money. This time, Sage Doctor coming over to take a look is also our Qing family's fortune. Qing Yutong placed down the chicken drumstick in her hand and asked curiously, Grandpa, how did you manage to invite such an awesome person over? Didn't Grandpa contact an old comrade in arms in the past, and finally managed to find out about the whereabouts of Sage Doctor? Qinya was a bit worried. Could it be that Sage Doctor is a swindler? Grandpa, what is this Sage Doctor called? Song Huang. Qinya and Qing Yutong didn't know Song Huang. However, back then, Dong Huangli almost killed Song Huang. Back then, when Sun Yi and the others went to snatch Xiao Yi's Xianyuan sword, Song Huang was also present at that time. And at that time, Dong Huangli was fiercely shaking Daddy's hand, causing Xianyuan's sword to fly all over the place, and everyone took the opportunity to escape. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.